Save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Let's rent e-bikes and have a picnic.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
We need to fix the gutters. Let's make 6 trips to the hardware store and still end up with leaky spots.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at PreserveServices.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Gorgeous afternoon out there. Big drop in humidity as compared to yesterday. A high of 81 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Even cooler tonight. We're going to dip down to 60 degrees under mainly clear skies. Partly cloudy tomorrow and refreshing with a high of 79.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 52 points to 45,334.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. There's a lot of action happening today because it is cutdown day in the NFL. 53-man rosters, mandatory down to 53 men on the roster in less than an hour, 4 o'clock. However, there's no mandate that you take the entire time up until 4 o'clock. So as we jump into the Big 3 at 3, we'll start with the Panthers.
Number 1.
The Panthers have announced their final, it's actually their initial 53-man roster. It feels final, right? If you made the team today, it feels like I made an NFL roster. Tomorrow you might be cut. But they are down to 53. Yes, there are some surprises. Hunter Renfrow did not make the 53-man roster. Shai Tuttle, defensive tackle, did not make the 53-man roster. Chris Barnes and John Radigan, some of the veteran presence in the off-ball linebacker room, did not make the 53-man roster. But there is there's a bit of a life cycle in the NFL, right? For every surprise cut, there's somebody going, I made it? Really? I've got some surprise makes. Tight end James Mitchell had a nice little preseason, and obviously with Tommy Tremble coming back off back surgery, felt they needed a little bit more depth at the tight end spot. He makes it. Guy I covered in college in the ACC at Virginia Tech. Wide receiver, I don't know if either of them are a surprise. Both of them making the team are a surprise to me. Bryson Tremaine and David Moore. 7 wide receivers made it, so maybe that's what allowed them to feel comfortable with 2 of them kind of being special team emphasis guys, but Tremaine and Moore both make it. Jaden Crumity made it on the defensive line.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me a little bit.
Obviously has something to do with Tuttle on the way out, LeBrian Ray going to IR. They felt they had an extra spot on that interior defensive line. Jaden Crumity, a young guy, makes it. And Dennis, one of your favorite players, DJ Johnson, outside linebacker, makes the 53-man roster.
Bruh.
That's that. Hey, good for DJ, right? I don't want to talk bad on anybody on a day that they've worked really hard for. Production might not be there, but I'm sure the work is. Other guys that we've been monitoring that did not make the team, Shamar Bartholomew did not make the team, one of the cornerbacks. Other than that, it's kind of par for the course. I know some people thought Ja'Tyre Carter, a guard, but he's been injured, he didn't make it. Some thought they might keep a little bit more depth interior offensive line. And then Boogie Basham, he's a Wake Forest guy, right?
Yeah.
Wake Forest edge rusher did not make the team. That was one of the first dominoes to fall today. We'll talk about this a bunch more. Dennis, your first initial reactions.
I was just kind of surprised. Honestly, the Hunter Renfrow one kind of threw me off there a little bit. That's probably the biggest surprise of the day so far.
And like I said, we'll talk about that a bunch throughout the show. That's number one. We'll jump to number two.
Number two.
If you haven't done so yet, bookmark this for later on, right? When our show is over, go to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan, and check out Canes Corner, the latest episode. Adam Gold sat down with Rod Brind'Amour, the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes. And first of all, it's fun to see off-season Rod Brind'Amour, right? He relaxed a little bit, right? He had the shorts on. He was hanging out, which means we heard some more relaxed thoughts, more fun thoughts from Rod Brind'Amour. But particularly early on, they did hit some hockey stuff. They did hit some of the things that we've been pondering all offseason, because I know football season's just getting started, but hockey's really not that far away. Rod Brind'Amour talked about the possibility of Seth Jarvis getting the first look at center maybe this season, which is something that we've prognosticated about. I know Adam Gold has talked about as well. So this was Rod's response.
I don't think I would want to do that to him.
Okay.
First, not that he wouldn't if we were trying it. I don't even. There's still a lot of let's see what what happens. But it's the same argument that I had with the nature stuff that we've talked about. Why take a year, one of your top guys who's a top position player at that, and move him to maybe see if that works? I know it works where he is.
Okay.
Let's not rob Peter to play Paul, right?
Okay.
Let's try maybe. If we're going to try, I would probably think maybe might be Logan trying that first. If we go that route, we may not, right?
Okay.
We have other pieces there, we obviously. So, but I get your thought process. 100% right on,
Seth's already an elite defensive player.
Yeah, he could probably do it. Just I don't want to lessen the player that he is,
He's good.
And, he still has other, issues. I just feel like is
the shoulder a factor for you?
Well, I'd worry. I mean, it's not, because he's, he's playing and he's fine. But I saw it happen. I just rather take that element out of it.
I appreciate Rod Brind'Amour giving us the insight, and there is obviously a ton of logic to why would we take one of our best wings and move him to center when that could potentially get us worse at both positions, right? Or at least a small increase in center will be a big increase or decrease in wing, right? There's some math there. But again, when you listen to the whole thing, and we'll have more clips later in the show, one thing that I really appreciated Rod Brind'Amour said was, they don't talk about line pairings nearly as much as we do. Lineup, shuffling, who's on this line, who's skating with them. And part of it is because there's really only so many options, right? He's like, we got six defensemen. Do you need to get together every day with your assistant coaches and go, here are the same three options we had yesterday? Has anything changed between yesterday and today on how you're thinking we deploy them? They obviously I'm not saying they don't take all of the information into account, but a lot of it is you got to try it on the ice before you can get there, right? And the other thing he said was, and this would be ultimately my guilty pleasure if I were an NHL coach, and I'm very much not. He's like, a guy breaks his skate lace, and he has to miss 2 shifts. He's like, I don't even know what happened, right? So the center's down with a skate lace being restrung up. The next guy goes in. Then after the game, everyone's talking about, why did you skate these guys together on the second line? I would lose my marbles when that happens. And he's going like, I got a Charlie horse. What do you want me to do? We had to put in another winger out there, and now there's going to be think pieces written 10,000 words on why Kotkaniemi was skating with so-and-so. It is funny, but that's what the offseason's for, and Rod did acknowledge that as well. That's number 2. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
Already we're getting weekday updates on college football. State, meaning NC State, is hosting ECU on Thursday. Big game, right? It is the rematch of the bowl game last year, which ECU won. It is the engaging of 2 teams that had a fight post-game, and there were ejections, and there's everything else. Some would say it is a very, very important, and I would also agree with this, very, very important season for Dave Doran and his status as head coach of NC State. There's a excitement around both of these teams. And today we learned that Brandon Cleveland, who is, by all accounts, a team leader, although he wasn't named a captain for NC State, but by all accounts a team leader for NC State on the defensive line, along with offensive lineman Val Erickson, who is a reserve offensive lineman, will both be not available for NC State through the first half versus East Carolina. Dave Doran announced due to their ejections late in that Military Bowl loss to ECU all the way back in December. So they were ejected from that one, and they will serve essentially a 1/2 suspension in the ECU game, which is I'm not going to pretend like it's the biggest news in the world, but Brandon Cleveland is important to the middle of that defense. He is a very good player that is expected, I would say, to get a bit more statistical production this year, moving away from the 3-3-5 that Tony Gibson played, where he was that man in the middle, really just being a clog, to now getting an opportunity to find some one-on-ones against guards and move to a shade rather than a straight-up nose tackle. Like he's looking to perhaps get after the quarterback a little bit more. And he won't have that opportunity, at least in the first half, because he'll be on the bench.
Yeah, more than just sitting there eating up blockers.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's got to be exciting as heck for Brandon Cleveland to go from just the dirty worker of all dirty workers on defensive fronts to occasionally getting the opportunity to, do a swim move or rip through, bull rush, rather than just anchor down and hold your ground. Then real quickly, just because I find this hilarious, it is so extra college football that all offseason, and by the way, both of these things I'm going to say are true, even though they appear to be kind of polar opposites. Brandon Cleveland has been shown as like a he has a halo around him, like he has an aura of just being this otherworldly, selfless person, because he's organizing all of these charity drives and he's helping with Western Carolina and their recovery efforts from flooding and everything else. And he's raising backpacks and he's on all of these charity watch lists, meaning for awards. And then we come back to football and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you're suspended the first half for the ejection you had at the end of last year. And it's like, that's the switch football players have. You can be the biggest, good, hardest teddy bear. You get on the field, it's like, yeah, remember that fight I got in? I got to pay my punishment to start the season. It's there's a lot of guys like that, but I just always find it funny when all offseason you could be like working out with a guy and he's just a teddy bear. As soon as you put on pads, it's like, whoa, who got the gremlin wet? Like, where did that come from? Brandon Cleveland, not available through the first half. I would imagine the first rep of the second half, I would not want to be ECU's interior offensive line against Cleveland, who just has to watch everything and get riled up until he runs out there on defense for the second half. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the big 3 at 3. We touched on it to start. Hunter Renfrow, a surprise cut by the Carolina Panthers. Their 53-man roster is set. We'll give you that and other reactions coming up next.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Folks, if you have struggled with your weight like I have over the last few years, you definitely need to listen to this. I can proudly say that I've lost over 25 pounds in the last 4 weeks thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. That's real talk. Over 25 pounds in 4 weeks thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. It's not just the weight that's come off. My body fat percentage has dropped. I'm sleeping better at night. My resting heart rate is the best it's been since I was back in college. That's how good things have gotten thanks to the weight I've lost, thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. And you can also be part of that as well. No shots, no injections, no side effects, just your body resetting its metabolism and doing the natural thing. And Raleigh Weight Loss Center right now is having a huge end of summer offering, up to 20% off now through August 29th with the lowest prices of the year on the amazing Raleigh Weight Loss program. Schedule your free consultation by calling 919-897-7506. That's 919-897-7506 or online at RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
First and goal from the 4. Watson rolls right, throws on the run, caught. Touchdown, Clemson. Hunter Renfrow.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are 45 minutes away from teams in the NFL being required to be down to 53 men on their roster. Today is a cold day in the NFL. All right? So we're going to do things like talk about guys that were surprise cuts. But I just as somebody that you know, for most of my childhood life, you asked me what I was going to be when I grew up, I would have been like NFL player, and at some point the NFL said no. I do want to just acknowledge that these are humans, right? And some of them are seeing their dreams dashed today, and some of it, there's no way they could see it coming. I found this was surprising. At 2 o'clock today, remember 4 o'clock is the time where you have to be down to 53 men on the roster. At 2 o'clock today, the Ravens were practicing. They had 75 guys on the practice field. At 2 o'clock. So you're out there, you know, thinking we're getting ready for games. You're trying to block it from your mind. You walk off the field. I don't even know if you have time for a shower. And the GM's like, yeah, no. To 22 of them, 75 guys. So it's a cold day, but professional sports is a business, right? And we're going to discuss it. So I guess we'll start with the surprise cuts, and then we'll come back to the surprise makes. Hunter Renfrow did not make the team. Hunter Renfrow, if you would have gone back, I don't know, like 3 weeks into camp, I'm not sure anybody had a higher approval rating than Hunter Renfrow. Remember Dabo Sweeney came to practice and they were talking about how he looks like a normal guy, but when he put on the pads, he turns into Superman? That was an actual quote from a 2-time national championship winning coach at Panthers training camp like a month ago, maybe not even. And that guy got cut today. Now, there's 2 points I want to make here. One, injuries stink, right? And he did have the hamstring thing. I don't even know if it was a pull, but it was a tweak, a strain, whatever you want to call it. And he ended up missing 2 weeks, roughly?
Yeah, roughly, because he missed
which includes
the
Fan
first
Fest.
preseason game and Fan Fest.
So that's significant opportunities, especially when you're a guy who didn't play last year and they want to see if you can hold up physically through the rigors of an NFL season. To have a soft tissue injury that quickly keep you out of some premier opportunities to show yourself. It's, 10 years from now when he's at a bar telling somebody, I would have made that 53-man roster if it wasn't for my hamstring. I'm not 100% sure he'd be, going old glory days and making up a story. That might be right.
And 4 years removed from when he had his 1,000-yard season?
He had to show that he was closer to that guy, the 4 years ago guy, than he was the guy that didn't play in the NFL last year, and he didn't get that chance. But I'm going to offer one silver lining for the Clemson fans in the area that wanted their guy on the Panthers.
Okay.
Just vibes, and I actually had a long conversation with Renfro a year and a half ago, 2 years ago on Pack Therapy, which is a podcast found everywhere, YouTube, new episode out. He gives the vibe of somebody that prioritizes close to home maybe at this point in his career, and he's from South Carolina. I'm not sure he's going to pursue a lot of other options. So say you trade away Adam Thielen. Say there's something that pops up. I'm not sure you can call him back up and say, hey, we actually do need that veteran voice in the room. We actually do need that route running guru to help with these younger guys. Thielen's, on the way out. So all I'll say is this. I'm not slamming the door on any future partnership between Hunter Renfrow and the Panthers, even if for now, right, he's not even on waivers. He is a vested veteran. He is released and can go sign wherever he wants. Mm-hmm. He might say, yeah, you know what? Unless somebody's giving me an awesome deal, I'm going to wait around here and see if something doesn't pop up. I could see him being a coach. I could see him leaving football and doing something else, right? He is an interesting guy. Surprise, actually, any other surprise? We'll go with Shy Tuttle, I guess, would be a surprise cut.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised at that one because I figured they will want someone who's a little bit more of a veteran to be a backup and rotational guy because he has so many starts over the last couple of years with the Panthers. I think he started 32 of 34 games. I was a little surprised at that, but the fact that they still kept the young guys like Jaden Crumedy, who's a second-year guy that they drafted in the 6th round last year, and Cam Jackson, a 5th-round pick this year out of Florida. It's nice to see those young guys make the team as well, but I was a little surprised at that. Wouldn't surprise me, though, if that guy gets picked up right away by another team just to be a veteran depth piece.
It also is a show of strength on the interior of the defensive line for the Panthers, right? If you cut a guy with 32 starts in the last 34 games for your squad, somebody who's, by the way, not on a ridiculous – it's not like, just a very obvious cost-cutting move, right? If somebody's, $15 million cap hit, you save 9 of it by cutting them. That makes sense. That's not this case. It just shows the strength of their interior defensive line. Now let's get to the surprise makes. Bam Martin Scott makes it as a linebacker, but do you know what would – this is the opposite of like I'm not slamming the door on Renfrow.
Okay.
On Panthers.com, they gave like a breakdown of the 53-man roster for – true linebackers, right? They have outside linebackers. We know them as like kind of edge rushers, although they do drop in coverage a little bit. Then they have linebackers. I call them off-ball backers. Christian Roseboom, Trevin Wallace, Claudin Cherilus, Bam Martin Scott all make the initial 53-man roster. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words in their explanation of the linebacker room is this group could still be in flux.
You don't say.
So Bam Martin, Scott, and Claudin Cherilus make the squad, and then immediately they go, this is from Panthers.com. That's state-run media. That's from the team. This group could still be in flux as they'll be looking for depth and special teams help in the coming days. That I cannot agree with more. Corners, safeties, off-ball backers, special teams help. You're going to have to, if you've probably already done so, but you have to watch every preseason game of every other team and find the ones that flash to you and see if you can't make a claim for them or if it's a vested veteran, go out and find a way to get them to join your team. And if that is the case, then the guys at the end of the roster at those positions are going to be, on that metaphorical chopping block, which, if you look at the corners, that's probably a Caleb Evans. Right, a Caleb Evans being behind J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, Shaw Smith-Wade, and Corey Thornton. If they find a corner they like more on the waivers, that's where a guy like Evans might, go from celebrating making the 53 to, oh, darn, I'm on the way out pretty quick. But as we continue to swing the pendulum between optimism and pessimism, do you know why they kept you on the initial 53? Because, one, if they can't find somebody they like more out there, they want you to be the one. But also, I would assume this is true. If they do go find somebody at your position they like better and they bring them in, that means you will be released after the initial wave, and there's a better chance that other teams will have gone, well, we may have claimed that one, but we already claimed this other corner, and we like them similarly, so, we'll let that one pass through waivers. Then they can bring you back on practice squad. So it is
much like Jalen Coker from last year.
Exactly, which could very well end up being a, they like you so much, they don't want anybody to have you move to keep you around only to cut you 2 days from now or whatever it ends up being. Other surprise cuts. This is the reverse of injuries hurting you, right? You get an injury in the middle of training camp, you lose your spot. Oh, darn, right? Wally Pipp, you can be mad for the rest of your life. James Mitchell made the 53-man roster as a tight end, I believe, fortuitously because of an injury, right? Tommy Tremble has the back stuff going on, back surgery. He is cleared-ish now, right? We've still got to pass the last few hurdles here before game one. But James Mitchell has a good camp, and then they want to keep a little extra depth because of Tremble's injury history. Now they have 4 tight ends where they might have kept 3. James Mitchell gets a little bit of a boost there, right? So it's like injuries taketh away from some, and injuries giveth roster spots to others. By the way, James Mitchell, I have a little bit of a history. I covered Virginia Tech when he was playing there. He's a versatile player. The offense ran through James Mitchell when he was at Virginia Tech. Used to do the Wildcat offense. He'd be the quarterback and on running plays, would score touchdowns on the ground. He could catch passes. Dealt with some injuries, but a really talented individual. Last question here. We have plenty of time to get to this throughout the day. Dennis, what do you make of Tremaine, meaning Bryce Tremaine and David Moore, both making the team, which means the Panthers keep 7 wide receivers, and I'll just read the names for everybody. Tedero McMillan makes it, as does Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, Bryce Tremaine, David Moore, and Jimmy Horn Jr.
So I think a lot of this is younger player with Bryce Tremaine, upside with he's bigger guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5". He's a little bit of a bigger receiver. But he has shown his ability to play on special teams in both coverage and return. Same thing, David Moore. There's coverage and return ability, and I think that's what actually separate them from a guy like Renfrow. Like you mentioned, Hunter Renfrow dealing with that hamstring injury. If Hunter Renfrow wasn't going to be one of your top 4 receivers, okay, now the big question is, what can you do on special teams? I think if you look at it right now, Jalen Coker's probably your number 4 option among the receivers, who also can cover kicks and be part of the return game as well as a blocker. Renfro's only thing he can do to add to special teams is just return punts, and they have plenty of guys that can do that. I think that's what separates this so far, is really what the guys can do special team-wise, and I think that's why Tremaine makes it. That's why David Moore makes it. But also I think keeping 7 also opens up the option of, if you want to trade Adam Thielen, you still have plenty of receivers available to you.
I would be a little nervous if my 5th wide receiver was Bryce Tremaine or David Moore.
But you have Jimmy Horn Jr.
But there it is.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'll just mention here, and maybe I'm reading into it too much, but I don't believe it is listed alphabetically. They did list on Panthers.com the positions, and it appears to be in order, right? Tedero McMillan 1, Adam Thielen 2, Xavier Legette 3. That kind of makes sense for roster safety. Jalen Coker next. Bryce Tremaine next, David Moore next, and then finally Jimmy Horn Jr., which would say the 6th-round draft pick was the guy that metaphorically was closest to the cutting line, and the other 2 kind of made it safer, right? And that would put Bryce Tremaine way up there. Maybe they feel like they have a diamond in the rough there.
I think they do.
Maybe Bryce Tremaine, the offensive version of a Corey Thornton or a Damani Richardson, somebody that was off the scrap heap, and they turn into somebody that they're going to depend on. We'll see. Only time will tell.
Mm-hmm. This roster's far from done.
Yeah, I was going to say. And I'll say this throughout the show, and I'll say this throughout the year. An NFL roster is a living, breathing organism. Mm-hmm. It changes by the day. Even if the actual players aren't changing, their standing on the roster changes by the day. And depending on who gets cut elsewhere, this roster could look very, very different at this time in a couple of days, let alone by week 1. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the Dean's List coming up next, including I never thought I would say this. A financial app makes the Dean's List. Stick around.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teams require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
At Howard Hanna Allen Tate Real Estate, you'll find the same family-owned real estate company you've trusted since 1957. But now they're bigger, better, brighter. They have more agents and more resources, which means more exposure to sell your home. Their proven expertise and innovative tools will help you find the right home around the corner or across the globe. And they invest in our local communities. Their promise to you is a homeownership experience that is different from all others. Visit howardhannatate.com to get started.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is NFL cutdown day, half hour from when rosters have to be finalized. Panthers did it early for us. We've been talking about it. Dennis just informed me during the break. Fans, meaning listeners of this show that are in our YouTube live stream, not stoked that Hunter Renfrow did not make the initial 53-man roster for the Carolina Panthers. I would emphasize this in response. He was hurt a lot of camp.
Yeah.
He had to prove that he was the player that many of you in the chat think he is. But you know, there's so many cliches. Can't make the club in the tub. The best ability, availability. I mean, there's a reason why there's all of those sayings. We had a position coach in college that used to tell us the only place he can be impressed is on the field. Right? Like, and basically what he was saying was, I don't care how well you lift weights. I don't care what your 40 times are. The only place I can be impressed is when you can get out there on the practice or game field and show me. And not saying it's his fault. Hunter Renfrow was hurt for a good chunk of training camp. So I don't care what he was doing in meetings. I don't care how impressive he was when talking to him. You can only impress me on the field. Can't make the club in the tub. Didn't have the best availability. He might have route running ability. He might have catching ability. Doesn't have availability. It doesn't matter. And again, I'm not completely slamming the door on possible future partnerships between the Panthers and Renfrow. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll get back to that. However, right now, it is time for the Dean's List. We'll start the Dean's List off, and we will get to that financial application that is on the Dean's List, but we're not going to start there. We'll start with ECU football. Now, before you get all worked up, State fans, has nothing to do with this Thursday night's game where ECU is coming to NC State. Although just those two teams could both be on the Dean's List because I think it's going to be a really fun atmosphere. But ECU football makes the Dean's List for this reason. They announced today that ECU will go on the road to play Alabama in 2026.
What?
ECU said, Crimson who? We're coming to town. Call it Greenvalusa. Not my best work. Few things. One, these games are truly no lose for schools like ECU. You go to Alabama, you get smoked. Guess what? You're supposed to. It's Alabama. You go to ECU and just have it close. You go to Alabama and just have it close in the second half. Massive win, right? Now you're surprising people. You go and you win, program changing, right? Level up. Everything's crazy. Fast track towards superstardom. Worst case scenario is you lose a game in ugly fashion that you were supposed to lose in ugly fashion, and you get a fat check to walk home with and nurse your wounds. Do you know what is the only part about this I don't like? They're on the Dean's List, so obviously I like most of it. The only part I don't like is I don't think there's a right answer here. If somebody has a great game for ECU and they have eligibility, they're going to have every little birdie on their shoulder in their ear simply saying, as soon as this season's over, did you just have 100 yards against Alabama? As soon as this season's over, we'd like to talk to you about how much we can pay you to come to here. Oh, did you just get an interception at Alabama? Are you a defensive back? Oh, my goodness. We would love to talk to you. So it's like, I don't think there's a way to like keep good players hidden, but it also probably will be a bit like ominous if one of your players has a great game at Alabama and then all of a sudden it's done, right? All the sharks are in the water just coming after your player. But again, I don't think there's an easy answer to that, so play the game. Another Dean's List entry, Bryce Davis, Duke defensive end.
Okay.
This is one of our requirements. He was put on a watch list.
All right.
The Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year Award watch list.
Okay. Never heard of it, but okay.
Yeah, Freshman of the Year. Sean Alexander was really good as a freshman, so it makes sense that it would be named after him.
All right.
Davis was named a Max Preps All-America, took part in the 2025 Under Armour Next All-American game, lettered 4 seasons at Grimsley High School, right here in the state of North Carolina, in Greensboro. So he is a local guy, sticking around, and he's a Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year Award watch list member.
4-star recruit, if I remember correctly.
I believe so. And here's the interesting part. I saw Duke put out, a link that said, Davis named to Sean Alexander Award, and I clicked it. And in my brain, I was thinking this had to be Bradley Gompers because he was the one that was on all the true freshman All-American lists, preseason All-American lists that we saw on 247 Sports. So this is actually a different incoming freshman than the one that got these other freshman accolades. So there's at least a couple on that defense for Duke that are expected to contribute by different, powers that be, different watch list members. And I always like when a North Carolina guy, regardless of the school, kind of stays home and plays for one of the teams in the area. So Bryce Davis with the Blue Devils getting a little preseason love. Dennis, do you have any Dean's Listers you'd like to throw at us?
I do, actually.
Let's hear it.
I actually have one. I'm going to give a Dean's List goes to NC State women's cross country, preseason ranked 3rd of the national coaches poll.
They're good at that.
Yeah, they are. When you win national championships, yeah. So, yeah, that's my Dean's List.
I used to love the cross-country T-shirts that the cross-country team would wear in high school that would just say something like, my sport is your sport's punishment.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just a gangster thing to say because, right, at the end of football practice, we'd have to run 110s and we'd just be exhausted. And then you'd look around and they'd be jogging circles around the state and it would be all right. And shirts that say, our sport is your sport's punishment, which is just, it's a fact. It's just true. Last one, and this is the financial app I was talking about. Venmo makes the Dean's List.
I'm sorry, Venmo?
Venmo.
Okay.
Venmo.
Are they no longer taking fees for instant transfers of my bank account?
You're going to have to look into your own.
Oh, okay.
They do. I will say this about Venmo, as someone that has an account. They do send a lot of, we've updated our terms and conditions emails.
Yeah, they do.
And okay, great. Can I still keep my, $100 in there that I used to pay the dog sitter? The NCAA and online payment service Venmo announced a partnership earlier today aiming to combat abuse and harassment of college athletes, some of who have reported receiving unwanted requests for money from losing bettors and solicitation for inside information. First of all, I don't know how this hasn't happened already, but it is, like, I'm not surprised that bettors and ridiculous, stupid sports fans that take things too far are trying to get in contact with athletes. I am surprised that you're going to go to, like, Venmo and say, right, your missed field goal cost me my parlay, so you owe me the steak. I'm going to request $50 on Venmo from you. You have to be the lowest of the low to do that. Now, having said that, if those lowest of the low are going to exist, the NCAA and Venmo should get together and say, can we find a way to stop this? Can we find a way to not allow this? So what they've built is a dedicated hotline for athletes to use to report abuse and harassment, education on account security to make sure that nobody's getting in the mix, and increased monitoring. There's going to be security team will monitor social media trends and events during games, such as last-second missed field goals that have triggered surges and unwanted interactions. Yeah, just don't do that, please. Did the please help if you're like the scum that is going to go write a lewd Venmo request to a college athlete? Do you think me saying please just made them go, okay, I won't? But I've heard, like, golfers, this happens all the time. Scotty Scheffler said he had to delete his Venmo for both reasons. He said if people were hitting big bets and they were winning because of him, he was getting flooded with, like, here's $5 of my winnings, thank you. And also vice versa. If he didn't win and it was costing, he was getting hundreds and thousands of people saying, this is the one you choose to lose, you choke artist, why didn't you? So if Scotty's getting it, like the, kicker from Rice is just getting smoked on his Venmo. There you go. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's the Dean's List. Better watching on Venmo. Fantastic. I also love the idea of, like, some guy from Venmo, some lady from Venmo is watching a game and they miss a kick to lose the game, and the first thing they do is like, all right, let's go see what kind of requests this kid's getting hit with. Delete before he can get to his phone. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have more audio from Rod Brind'Amour on Kane's Corner coming up, including the main reason he thinks the team has been so successful in his build-up since Rod Brind'Amour took over. I think there's a lot of other teams going, the main reason, you're just going to give it away? We will. We'll play you that audio in a little bit. But first, Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. The rivalries, the marching bands, the upsets. Saturdays just got way more fun, and Thursdays, and Fridays, and Mondays around here. There's games from North Carolina colleges all across. College football is back. If you think you know the game, put your knowledge to the test with DraftKings Sportsbook and turn your picks into big old payouts. With live betting, rivalry week odds boosts, and more, DraftKings Sportsbook has everything you need to own every Saturday. There's some big pop culture news going on right now in the sports world. Well, guess what? If you go to DraftKings Sportsbook right now, plus 1,000. Travis Kelce to score 12 or more touchdowns this upcoming season. If he's in the engagement glow, you might be interested in that one. By the way, lines and odds are subject to change, so if you want that one, you better move quickly. Here's something special for first-time bettors. New DraftKings customers bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets instantly. All you have to do to get $300 in bonus bets instantly is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. No spaces in that, by the way. TIMD, TIMD, no spaces. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expires 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. We'll be back with audio from Rod Brind'Amour into the secret sauce for his success. Stick around.
So, you found the one and want to get married? Next step, you need the ring. And not just any ring, the perfect engagement sparkle that exemplifies your love. Bailey's Fine Jewelry is here to help. Our diamond experts wide selection of high-quality diamonds, and financing make saying I do easy. We guarantee you'll love the ring or your money back. You're invited to see why Bailey's has been voted best place to buy your diamonds. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to find out more.
Don't find out later. Find out first with WRAL News at 4.
Breaking news right now here at 4 o'clock.
From breaking news to the forecast you need right now.
The dual Doppler 5000 radar is showing some storms.
WRAL News at 4 has you covered.
And from the WRAL Live Center, a traffic alert on I-40.
The afternoon rush starts here.
New at 4 o'clock, we've learned why there was such a large police presence.
Watch WRAL News at 4 today and every weekday. That's coverage you can count on.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop. Right now at Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. Imagine lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. Don't let the high rates hold you back. Call 919-381-1760 or go to loanpronto.com right now. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Florida looking to get it out. Forsling bounce it. Now it comes out in front. Holding shoot. He scores! Seth Jarvis with the turnover. And Carolina has tied it at 3.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Rod Brind'Amour is, I assume, enjoying the last few weeks of what could be considered an off season before the Canes and obviously the head coach of the Canes have to dive into their season full-fledged. He took time out of his offseason to talk with our very own Adam Gold on the Canes Corner podcast. You can find that podcast everywhere podcasts can be found. I would encourage you to check it out on YouTube. Search our 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. That way you can watch it and you can get the nonverbals. You can see the facial expressions and everything else, so you get the full context. Rod Brind'Amour and Adam were pontificating. Also, they were just kind of talking about maybe what has allowed Rod Brind'Amour to have the steady growth and success since taking over as head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, and this is what that conversation sounded like.
You can talk all you want about this, that, and there's obviously other things that matter.
But that didn't happen right away.
No, it didn't. Not the first year, because the first year we were still
or the second year.
We were $20 million under the cap for those first.
Right.
But there was a theme there of, I understand we need to get the investment in the players right away, and I felt like, to me, that was the biggest thing. And then, especially early on, I felt there was a real commitment to listening to what we were saying we needed to do. If you remember the first year, there was some pretty big changes of people. Everyone's like, what are you doing? But that was because he wasn't afraid to make big decisions. Right away. Like, boom, trade, you name it, it was happening. And I think that's the so it keeps going back. It was Tom's influence on all of that. Got us to go toe-to-toe with teams and feeling like we could win and not, just be hanging in there. That was, if you said one thing, there's a lot of things, but that was the major thing.
The commitment from ownership to spend to win. I mean, obviously, and Rod started by saying this, there are a lot of things that go into building and having a continued successful hockey program. But sometimes you do just have to start with the basics, and you need the Jimmies and Joes, right? You need the players, and the way you get the players is by being competitive in offers and spending to the cap and all of those things. And Tom Dundon has allowed Eric Tulsky and Rod Brind'Amour and the rest of that staff to do so. Do you know who's loving the sound of that?
Who's that?
Portland Trailblazer fans. They're
I'm
like,
sure.
oh, an owner that gets, understands how the game works. We got you. I also love to hear that Tom Dundon is decisive when they come to him with like big trades and things, right? Like, okay, do it. Sometimes I think that's maybe the thing that is most important. Like all these billionaires that come over and buy teams, we're talking like not the Rooneys and the Maras, not these families that have just owned teams forever. But when you are the businessman that comes over, the businesswoman that comes over and buys a team, sometimes I think that's the most valuable trait you have is you're just used to big-time boardroom decisions, right? You're used to a $1 billion acquisition. All right, we like it in the room. Boom, let's do it. Because you have to act quickly when you see an opportunity, and Rod Brind'Amour gives credit to Tom Dundon for that. Then they went into this conversation. It's all on the Canes Corner podcast and more, right? I won't spoil it for you, but Rod Brind'Amour does say what his favorite movie is. There's a ton of information, but they went into this battle of like hockey guy versus analytics guy. Right, and Adam, as you'll hear, and part of the question will be in this clip we're going to play for you, kind of positioned it as Eric Tulsky is a very smart guy, some very impressive degrees. Tom Dundon's a very analytical business mind, and then Rod Brind'Amour obviously grew up in locker rooms and on the ice, and he gets the hockey of it. So here's a comment from Rod Brind'Amour, and you'll hear Adam Gold's voice on the battle between hockey and numbers in the decision-making space for the Canes.
Have you lost battles with them over players that you wanted for hockey reasons, but they look at and say, no, this guy can't help us?
100%. But what I'll say is they have too.
Okay.
So
want to give me an example of a player you won?
Well, no, because then that'll make it sound like they didn't want him either. We agree on a lot of stuff, and then we disagree on some stuff. But what's good about it is we both understand, like, it's healthy to have that. Like, you can't just all be agreeing. And then I'm pretty straight up. And I'll, like, when I like someone or don't, like,
Right.
So there's no, in this, and I feel like I'm learning a lot more about the analytic world and how they think. And I appreciate Eric and Tom too. They're I don't want to say coming over to this side, but they're understanding what hockey's. It's tough to, like you said, it's not all on paper.
It can't be.
No. And so I think we're learning from each other.
I love that. That was my favorite part of the podcast. Aside from like the goofy fun stuff, like from a hockey standpoint, that was my favorite part of the entire conversation. And my favorite part was Rod wins some of those. Because oftentimes when analytics are up against the hockey knowledge, and this goes for other sports, right? Analytics up against baseball knowledge, analytics up against whatever sport. Just I know the arguments sometimes are skewed, and what I mean by that is the analytics side comes with like spreadsheets. This is why I can point to this number that says I'm right, and the hockey lifer or the sports lifer's argument is often, I just know. And that if that's not respected on the other side of the room, it's not going to win many arguments. It's like, how do I know? Because I've been in a locker room since I was 6 years old, and every time these two personalities have gotten together, it's worked awesomely. And I can't give you more than that. So, or maybe there is a little bit more, right? Rod Brind'Amour could go into, well, I know what the analytics say, but that's because he was playing with this guy who does that. Like, they could have those conversations as well. But the part that I like is both sides have somebody checking the other, right? Either side, if running rampant, I don't think puts the best hockey team together. And I think that's true for most sports. If you have somebody with a calculator making the decisions on every football player, I don't think you're going to make the best football team. But at the same time, if you have a football coach that still watches his tape on a reel in his basement, little tick, 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 and doesn't believe computers have a place in the office, I don't think you're getting the best football team either. I think you need both covered in modern sports. And as long as Rod is winning the ones that he fights hardest for and Eric Tulsky and Tom Dundon are winning the ones that they fight hardest for, I think that is how you end up with the best hockey team. And as long as they're both humble enough to occasionally say, all right, no, if you're that passionate, go ahead, then I think we're good. But I do love the idea of having somebody from both sides in those decision-making rooms.
You can't measure everything in sports. Like, there's an intangible things in the regular season, this guy might, do so-and-so in terms of puck retrieval and all those kinds of things. But what about playoff time? Where's the willingness to get to the middle of the ice in the playoffs? That's something you can't, truly measure. It's actual will to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things really do matter. It's an intangible thing.
Or something as simple as, we need to re-sign this guy because in Game 7, in our last time out, I looked him in the eye and he wasn't freaking out, right? and there's no measure, there's no analytic that tells me I looked him in the eye and he was going to deliver. Whether he had the opportunity to or not, he was comfortable. So, like I said, you need both. You need both. And you need to respect the other, which I also appreciate, although I love the question from Adam. Like, tell me a name you won. I love Rod going, no, right? Because that defeats the purpose. If either of us are out to say, I claim this guy, you claim that guy, then we might as well not be on the same team, right? They didn't dislike the player just because they didn't want to sign him as much as I did or whatever it is. It's we all came around together. I truly believe this. I think the Canes from a top, like the four horsemen of the franchise, whatever you mentioned, although I would even argue it's probably three horsemen of the franchise in hockey because there's no position like quarterback that means as much. From head coach, GM, ownership, there's a lot there that I think a lot of teams in a lot of different sports could learn, right? You hear of college or NFL football coaches going to spring practices to learn things from college coaches that they kind of respect. If I were a front office in some other sport, I might hit up the Canes and be like, hey, do you mind if I come shadow you for a week and take some notes on your guys' relationships? Because I think it works well. And a lot of that has to do with Rod Brind'Amour, which is why I've been on a couple of Portland area media entities because they want to know what kind of owner Tom Dundon is. And I make it very clear. The first thing that Tom Dundon did when he took over that I think led to so much of the success is he empowered Rod Brind'Amour as head coach. I think the exact way it took place on a recent pod was they said, well, obviously the first thing he's going to do once he gets the Blazers is figure out who his Sebastian Aho is. And I was like, oh, no. The first thing he's going to do is figure out who his Rod Brind'Amour is, and then hopefully Rod Brind'Amour will figure out who his Sebastian Aho is and talk with the GM and figure everything else out. But I do think he is a big part of that secret sauce is Brind'Amour. And then the support from the ownership staff to make it work. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of that beautiful mix between like sports guy and analytics, Dan Morgan, linebacker, football guy, Brant Tillis, cap, analytics, GM, assistant GM. I think that works for the Panthers. Who did they come up with on their 53-man roster, and who should they still be searching for? Stick around.
A torn ACL, stress fracture, aching back, a hip that's had it, life on hold, and all you want is to get it back. Enter Wake Orthopedics. Our fellowship-trained orthopedists do it all. General, sports, pediatric, joint replacement, fractures, spine, prevention, advanced diagnostics, progressive treatments, minimally invasive procedures, surgeries, and more. Visit wakemed.org/wakeortho and get back your life.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free.
For a limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50. Add any size Sprite for $1.49. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Gorgeous afternoon out there. Big drop in humidity as compared to yesterday. A high of 81 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Even cooler tonight. We're going to dip down to 60 degrees under mainly clear skies. Partly cloudy tomorrow and refreshing with a high of 79.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money today. Dow Jones up 142 points to 45,424.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Today, as of 15 seconds ago, although news doesn't travel light speed, so we may still learn a little bit. But as of 22 seconds ago, NFL teams had to be under the or at the 53-person roster limit. Some teams, I just know this because I saw it on social media, were practicing. The Ravens were practicing 2 hours ago with 75 players. So there were 22 players on a practice field that were going to be cut since practice to now, or added to IR, or one of the many other things that roster maneuvering can do. Which is, it's a brutal day, it's a tough day, but it is also a day of action. Okay? So I talk a lot about how action speaks louder than words. And I talk about that in every aspect of sports, but it darn sure is true on a day like today. A team can say, we love this guy, he's developing greatly. Works hard every day. Well, on a day like today, he's either on your 53 or he's not, right? If he's cut, you didn't love him that much, right? Or we want to run the ball. We want to be run first and stop the run. It's like, well, you kept below league average interior defensive linemen, and you kept a whole mess of corners or whatever it is. It's like, all right, well, it looks like you're going to be doing something a little different. For today, here's what I learned about the Carolina Panthers. They're all in on youth. If you look at the surprise keeps on the team, Bryce and Tremaine, wide receiver, Jaden Crumedy, defensive line. I'm not saying Tremaine's a surprise like over the last week, but I guarantee you if you go back to before training camp, not many people would have been predicting Bryce and Tremaine would make the Carolina Panthers roster. DJ Johnson, a surprise make. James Mitchell at tight end, a surprise make. Bam Martin Scott, potentially a linebacker surprise make. These are some younger players. Meanwhile, if you look at what could be considered the surprise cuts, Hunter Renfrow, older dude, Shy Tuttle, who's still, I think, in his 20s, but flirting with that 30-year age kind of barrier.
Yeah, he'll turn 30 in October.
and you add in Jaden Crumedy making the team, who's like 24, 25, you see them choosing youth over age. Bam Martin-Scott making it over somebody like Chris Barnes, right? We're seeing a team that inherently chose youth over age. Or youth over experience might be the way to put that. Somebody like Raheem Blackshear being waived. And then you look at who's going to be returning kicks, and it's probably some combination of Trevor Etienne, Jimmy Horn Jr., right? Some of these guys, those are both draft picks. So let me ask you this. If their actions say they're all in on a youth movement, do you think they're at all legitimately interested in having those trade conversations about the 35-year-old wide receiver on their roster in Adam Thielen? I think it would still make sense if a Thielen trade happened. As you can see, again, actions speak louder than words. They kept 7 wide receivers. Most teams like to be down to 6, unless you're a team that runs a ton of 5 wide receiver sets. Most teams like to be at 6.
Some even go down to 5.
Very true. If you are a team that likes to keep an extra tight end, which the Panthers also did. I'm saying, in the interest of one of my themes for the day being the NFL roster is a living, breathing organism. It's never complete. It's never done. There's always more change to come. Keeping 7 wide receivers, to me, doesn't mean these 7 wide receivers will be there week 1. What it means is they still have room to move a guy and have 6 wide receivers they feel okay with. And their actions say there's quite a bit of a youth movement happening here. So if I were one of the older guys on the roster, outside of maybe like Taylor Moton because he just got paid, if I were one of the older guys on the roster, I would be I'd be looking around. I'd be trying to figure out what's going on. Making sure my solid footing on the roster is actually solid footing on the roster. Now there's the other side of it, right? If an NFL roster is a living, breathing organism that is always changing, what could the Panthers be doing today? First of all, busy, right? This is not a you turn in your 53-man roster and start high-fiving everybody. This is you probably give the 53-man roster to like an intern to run down to fax to the league office because the people that matter are still there grinding tape and trying to make sure everybody that's been released and waived by any other team has been evaluated. I'm going to throw some names at you. Denver released defensive back Sam Franklin Jr. Do you know a lot of people will remember Sam Franklin Jr. for? A nice long interception return. It was against Kirk Cousins, right?
Yeah, Minnesota back in 2023, 99-yard pick 6.
Where one of his teammates decided to hoof it like 60 yards on a dead sprint just to get one block on Kirk Cousins at like the 10-yard line, which just goes to show if you're motivated by knocking Kirk Cousins out, you will put in so much effort. But no, Sam Franklin Jr. is a player that has some credentials as a special teamer and obviously as a depth defensive back, which is a position of need for the Panthers.
I would not be shocked if they bring him back. By the way, Sam Franklin also known for last year, I saw this, witnessed it with my own eyes, him trying to fight a Tampa Bay Buccaneer post-game.
There you go. So
in the locker room tunnel area.
Ride or die with the Panthers.
I have video of that.
An enemy of your enemy is your friend. How about this? There's a cornerback from New England, Brandon Crossley. Now, I threw him on this list specifically because I don't know much about him. But the announcement, and I'm going to go find exactly who said it, the announcement of him being released came with something that I found very interesting for the Panthers. So it was Mike Reese, who is an ESPN reporter, covers the New England Patriots. Tweeted out, undrafted free agent cornerback Brandon Crossley has been informed the Patriots intend to release him. Got his hands on the football in camp. Patriots have some depth there, which made it a longer odds push for a roster spot. That's the type of thing that I would be looking for if I were the Panthers. A team that has a position of strength and depth. So, somebody could have a great camp and still not make it by no fault of their own. And somebody that brings one of the few skill sets that I think are absolutely craved by the Panthers, one of which is getting your hands on the football, forcing turnovers. So just that one 2-sentence tweet from Mike Reese, who Mike Reese is pretty good. Like He's not a beat reporter that's going to super exaggerate or hyperbolize. Just that would make me go, all right, which scout scouted this guy? Who's the regional scout? What do we know about him? Could this be somebody we're interested in? Because corner is a position of need, depth at corner, as well as guys that are ball hawks, guys that can get their hands on the ball. And then you start looking for other interesting fits. Houston released an offensive tackle by the name of Trent Brown, just a guy with a lot of starting experience. Again, you'd have to evaluate him. He's a big dude, like gargantuan big dude. But I'm not sure how much the Panthers love their depth at tackle, and if Trent Brown can increase that, and there's a deal to be made, there's a cash that makes sense, you consider that. And then 2 more names I'll give you here, just as like what's going to be happening, right? You have to evaluate all options. I believe the Panthers want a practice squad quarterback. Right now, the only 2 quarterbacks under contract are Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. I think they've seen what they need to see with Jack Plummer. He's been around for a good amount of time. Bryce Perkins has reportedly already been informed he's not a candidate really to come back on the practice squad. What about somebody like Kyle Trask? Kyle Trask has been a long-time backup in Tampa, which, oh, by the way, he spent some time there with Dave Canales. So if you want a veteran, good in the room, has knowledge of the offense already quarterback, Kyle Trask might be that guy. He would be the backup, the practice squad guy, like in this mold. Bryce Young got hurt. He's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks as he heals from a thumb injury. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. Andy Dalton will start. Kyle Trask will be promoted to the active roster. Does that terrify you or not? Kyle Trask is of the, hey, you know what, could be worse variety. Like if your practice squad quarterback is there in case of emergencies, he might have to play. I think Kyle Trask makes sense. If you want a true developmental quarterback, somebody who, if he's forced into action, you might go, you know what? Is there a Carson Wentz out there, a Joe Flacco out there, somebody we can bring in on short notice to start? This guy we were hoping wouldn't have to play for another year or 2. What about Hendon Hooker, who just got released by Detroit? 2 drafts ago was a 3rd-round pick. Dealing with injuries coming out of college, never really hit the ground running in Detroit, but he's a North Carolina kid. Played his high school football in North Carolina. I believe his dad is like a North Carolina athletics legend. So there's some connection there. Maybe a move home would be the change of scenery he needs. The Panthers are not a roster that should ever think, we're done, we're complete, we're good. Let's go towards game 1. It should be, give us a list of everybody that's been cut from every team, and we're going to bring up our scouting reports and see if there's somebody we don't like a little better. And then last part here, they don't have as high a waiver priority as they've had. They had last year, right? Last year through week 3, they had priority number 1, which means whoever they wanted, they got, right? If somebody was on waivers, they wanted them, you got first priority. That's from being the worst team the year before. This year, they're going to have 8th. Okay, so you're going to need some bad teams to pass on some guys. You might miss out on a few, but actually waiver claims happen less often than you think. Usually, like for the super obvious good guys, there's only like 3 or 4 waiver claims. What was it? Was it Shamar Bartholomew last year that had like the most?
Yeah, he did. I think he had like 4 or 5.
Yeah, which obviously the Panthers got, and then he didn't make the 53-man roster today. So they're not all wins.
So the 7 teams ahead of the Carolina Panthers are the Titans, Browns, and this is in order of waiver claim. Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jags, Raiders, Jets. So if the Panthers put it in the claim, they have to hope that one of those 7 teams does not.
So just hope they're strong at all the positions you're weak.
You just hope.
And if there's like these other teams that are cutting players are smart too. They're not cutting players that are great. They would have traded them before they cut them.
Sure.
But there's value there. There is value there. Corners, safeties, off-ball linebackers, doors are open. When players talk about the last preseason game is not just an audition to make the team you're on, but an audition for everybody else watching. Corners, safeties, off-ball backers, if you had a great final preseason game, you might just be getting a call.
Let's also keep this in mind as well, that the guys that got waived today, obviously they don't get claimed by another team, have a chance to go on the Panthers practice squad, and it just takes one injury before you know it, you're elevated and you might be playing the rest of the season. You never know. And same thing with a guy like Hunter Renfrow. They could bring him back tomorrow. If they make claims or whatever they want to do, they make a trade of Adam Thielen. Oh, hey, we traded Adam Thielen. Hey, Hunter Renfrow, let's sign you. Or they can even sign Renfrow to the practice squad the way the practice squad rules work right now. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that once you're released or waived by a team that you're just automatically completely done.
I have to just think back to who was he was a wide receiver for the Eagles, and then he became a tight end, and he was on the Panthers.
Jordan Matthews.
Jordan Matthews.
Yeah.
Jordan Matthews was on he was cut, he was waived, he was practice squad, he was active roster, he was cut, he was active roster, he was practice squad. It seemed like every week he was on a different part of the Panthers roster. It's tomorrow. What happens today doesn't guarantee anything for tomorrow. But the big news is the people that are not on the 53-man roster are exposed. Other teams can grab them. So the 53 are protected, right? Then nobody can steal them from you. That's the big deal about the 53-man roster. I would say a whole bunch of positions for the Panthers. I doubt the guys not making the roster are ones that are going to have heavy claims. If you don't have a super strong position group and you're cutting the guy that didn't make your group, there's usually not a lot of other NFL teams clamoring to get that player on their active roster. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll update you with more as that news continues to break. And we are nearing the end of August. Who will win the ladder challenge, Dennis or myself? It's getting to crunch time. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
A lesson learned this month, courtesy of some student athletes paying people via Venmo. When you're transferring money to friends, don't use real descriptions. Don't say sports gambling, especially if you're a student athlete playing sports. Try something different, like hide it under pizza or maybe feet pics.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone, available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for a limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I mentioned that we would update you on news. That just seems pertinent to Panther fans and NFL fans in the area. The Philadelphia Eagles have waived Terrace Marshall Jr., former Panther, former highly drafted Panther wide receiver. They've also waived Taylor Morin, the Wake Forest wide receiver. I believe he was an undrafted rookie free agent. And Kyle McCord, the Eagles have waived, who was a 6th-round pick at quarterback out of Syracuse this past year. Pretty rare. 6th round is kind of the cutoff. Like 7th rounders, I feel like get cut all the time before their first year. 6th, it's pretty unlikely anything better than that. It's like very rare. But maybe he gets another shot somewhere else. Maybe he's a possible developmental guy for a practice squad for a team like the Panthers.
Seems like a practice squad is destined for a guy like Kyle McCord.
Yeah. And maybe that's the Eagles want to bring him back. Eagles did just trade for Sam Howell, and they have Tanner McKee, who kind of balled out in the preseason.
Yeah, McKee has the injured finger or something like that as well.
Yeah, he's 6 weeks, something like that. Heard it in practice. But here's the other name that I failed to mention earlier, and I should have.
Okay, who's that?
Deontay Johnson, waived by the Cleveland Browns.
Outright released?
Yeah. Veteran just gone. Do you know what's the funny part about that?
What's that?
If he weren't him, if Deontay Johnson if his name wasn't Deontay Johnson and he didn't have the history he had, I would kind of be going. If they trade Adam Thielen, I think that type of player makes a lot of sense for the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
They bring in another veteran, a guy that has a 1,000-yard season. He's played a lot of football. But knowing what we know about Deontay Johnson, it's like, I don't think he's the one you want to have in the room with a bunch of young wide receivers. It goes to show you. I say this all the time. When you're at the peak of your powers, you can act a fool, right? If you're a really good player, you can do whatever you want, and they'll justify keeping you on the team and paying you. It's when your value drops a little bit, your play drops a little bit, that you're going to wish you were a good dude in the room. You were a team first, team always, team only guy, because you can extend your career that way, right? If you're a great guy in the room with your position, you get 2 or 3 extra chances at the end of your career, and the same is true in reverse. If you aren't that guy, sometimes your ride is over, and you feel like you should have had a few more trips around the track, which may have happened for Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, he burned a lot of bridges. I think last year he pretty much ruined his career. Let's be honest.
I mean, the fact that it didn't work in Pittsburgh is a tough one. Getting that trade for Dante Jackson was like, I loved it because it was low risk, but at the same time, it's like they're giving him up for nothing.
And then the Panthers pretty much gave him up for nothing. And then the Ravens released him. Then the Texans released him. And then the Ravens got him.
Oh, yeah. The Ravens didn't really get him. They just brought him to potentially get a compensation pick.
Well, he was with the Ravens first, then with the Texans, then the Ravens got him back. Yeah,
just in paperwork, though. Yeah. He was never back on the Ravens. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, but he is once again looking for work. Hopefully he made a bunch of money in his career. Hopefully he did well with it. Next up we have here on 99.9 The Fan, the Ladder Challenge.
Oh, my God! And for the 20-foot ladder with a spear on Jeff Hardy. For the love of God, Jeff Hardy may be broken. Smack dab in half.
So here's the deal, everybody. Dennis hasn't been around. He was out getting his weekend on Friday and Monday. So we haven't had a ladder challenge as far as our monthly contributions in a couple of days now, since Thursday. So Dennis, if you can remember, you had the lead when you left. Did you get a winner on Thursday?
I did. I definitely got a winner back on Thursday as well. So I am currently up to, let me go and pull it up here real fast just to make sure I get the numbers all accurate. But I last won my now the
I'll
betting app
update them on mine.
I'm up to $35.20.
Okay.
So I had the Carolina Panthers versus Pittsburgh Steelers. I had the Steelers over 10.5 points. I was a minus 800. They scored 19. So I got to be up to $35.20.
I had maybe the worst winning bet I've ever had.
Okay.
I had the Patriots over 7.5 points versus the Giants. They lost that game 42-10.
Hey, all you needed was 7.5.
That's a winner. That's a big fat winner right there. I'm up to $16.38.
There you go.
Still trying to make up ground from the Panthers messing me over. Basically, I'm just trying to stay afloat and have Dennis mess one up. So, Dennis, what are you doing today?
So, Chicago Cubs take on the San Francisco Giants tonight out in San Francisco. Justin Verlander on the mound for the Giants tonight. Give me Justin Verlander Gives up at least one earned run today. One earned run that's a minus 650. So my $35.20 will turn into $40.61.
I've lost that exact bet when he gave up runs, but none of them were earned.
Yeah.
Brutal beat. Next for me, I'm going also to the baseball field. Diamond. I'm going Jacob Misiorowski for the Brew Crew. 4 or more strikeouts versus Arizona tonight. The Miz is a fireballer. He throws it 1,000,000 miles an hour. And, as I've said many times, I'm just trying to escape baseball season. I need the MAC to start up so I have midweek something to bet on, or the NBA or the NHL. I just need something. Just trying to escape baseball when I have to bet on it. I don't do well with it, but hopefully a minus 900 bet on the Miz can get me through a Tuesday, which would turn my $16.38 into $18.20, which will get me one step closer to betting on Thursday night college football, which is really all I'm trying to get to. That's the ladder challenge here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We'll see who wins at the end of the month. For now, although it's not a firm grip for next month, but for now, the trophy is right here in the host studio where it belongs. After the ladder challenge, time for Copper Drop. Let's get into it.
You want true enlightenment? Well, I'm dropping.
All right. Take it away, Dennis.
Let's go ahead and start with Carolina Panthers. Obviously, they've released wide receiver Hunter Renfrow today. Cop or drop? Hunter Renfrow will play for the Panthers at some point this season. Cop or drop?
I'm dropping it. I do think the door is ajar. I think it's below 50%. I am worried that they're being a little stickler-ish with the Adam Thielen move, and I don't think if Adam Thielen is still on the Panthers that Renfrow has a role. I think they would fill a similar place on the roster, partially due to what you brought up earlier. Renfrow can return punts, but he is much more in the safe punt returner mold, right? He's gonna fair catch when he should. He's gonna catch them all. He won't muff it, but I don't think there's a lot of electricity in his returns, right? Meanwhile, if you put somebody like Jimmy Horn Jr. back there, you put some of these other guys, you have the possibility of a big play, which I think the Panthers are interested in this year, right? They need those equalizer plays, those big field position winning plays. If they had maybe a slightly better defense, I think a Renfrow-style returner might be there because you can win the position battle in other ways, position field battle. But with Thielen there, Thielen's not giving you much on special teams. So there's kind of, only a room for a few, been in the league 10-year guys that don't help on special teams. And right now that's Thielen. So I would put Thielen being traded at like a 50-50 right now. And then of the 50% where Thielen is traded, I would put maybe a return from Renfrow at like 50% of that. So it's a 25% chance he ends up with the Panthers.
Okay, well, that actually leads right into my next question here, Tim. Copper drop, the Carolina Panthers trade Adam Thielen before week 1.
Well, the funny part is I literally just said 50-50 before I knew this was going to be.
I know.
So 50-50 is neither cop nor drop, so I have to now force myself into making a decision.
Mm-hmm. What side of that coin does it land?
Man. I'm copping. And part of this is me putting the energy into the world. I think they should. But also this.
So you are copping?
I'm copping.
Okay.
I haven't seen the Vikings make a move to shore up their wide receiver group. And obviously they want to. Maybe a KJ Osborne who was released or waived by the Commanders might be somebody they're interested in bringing back, which would obviously do away with their need for a veteran wide receiver. But also this, the Panthers kept 7. They kept 7 wide receivers. I'd be surprised if they go into week 1 with 7 wide receivers, which means, by beg, borrow, and steal, by some way, cut, trade, I think they're going to move on from one guy between now and then. So if it's Thielen, I think that makes sense. So 51% Adam Thielen gets traded before week 1, which leads to a cop.
Okay. Next one up here. Let's stick with a little bit of NFL. Spencer Rattler named the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints today. Cop or drop, Spencer Rattler starts more than 10 games this season for New Orleans. Obviously, they drafted Tyler Shuck in the second round out of Louisville. Very high second-round pick. Cop or drop, Spencer Rattler starts 10 or more games this season for the Saints.
Interesting.
Started 6 last year.
I don't think the Saints are going to be very good.
No, they're going to stink.
They did cut Jake Haener, so it's a two-man race. Do I think Tyler Shuck gets at least, what would that be, 7, 8 starts is what I'm looking for?
So 10 or more for Rattler would mean
10
basically
or more.
8.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the over-under is 9.5 kind of
Yeah.
what we're getting at. No, I think Shuck starts more than 8. Give me the under, which would be drop. For this reason, you brought it up. Rattler started 6 already, right? I think they give him something similar. Give him 6 and say, all right, if you don't show a gigantic improvement over 6 last year, 6 games this year, then we're going to see what the rookie has. The other thing is they're going to be making big quarterback decisions next offseason, right? The idea would be if they're as bad as many of us think they're going to be, they'll be drafting near the top, if not at the top, which means they're going to be deciding on, depending on who ends up being that number one quarterback, Nussmeier, Klubnik, Sellers, whoever, Arch Manning if he comes out and he lives up to the unfair, ridiculous expectations that have been hoisted upon him. Whoever that is, they're going to have to make some big decisions. And Tyler Shuck was not a late pick. He was an early second-round pick. So you want to be sure in what you have there before you have to make those decisions. The other thing is he's like my age? And I say that only half joking. Tyler Shuck is, barring like somebody that, went into the military or played baseball for 7 years before going back to college football, he'll be the last player drafted in the NFL that was drafted in the 1990s.
You mean born in the 90s?
Yeah, sorry, born in the 1990s. He's an older guy, so you don't really have any reason to wait. So, yeah, I'd say Rattler starts. If it goes well, he plays like 8 games. If it goes poorly, he plays like 4. Then they turn it over to Tyler Shuck, and barring injury, he just plays the rest of the way, and they're probably not a very good team. Hopefully they pound the ball to Chris Olave, but that's just fantasy football purposes.
Okay, next one here. The news we all were anticipating, Tim. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce got engaged. But in order to celebrate this occasion, Krispy Kreme, that's right, the state of North Carolina's own Krispy Kreme Donuts is celebrating this engagement with a free original glazed donut between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. at participating Krispy Kreme shops. Tim, cop or drop, you're going to get your free Krispy Kreme donut in honor of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting engaged.
Well, we're on air till 6.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe? I'm probably dropping that.
What?
I'm going to make it happen.
What?
I'm a creature of habit, just a disgusting routine animal. I might even plan to get a donut on the way home, and then I'm going to get in the car, and by the time I realize where I am, I'm going to be parking in the driveway because it happens more often than you think.
I live by the one on Person Street here in Raleigh. I guarantee that place is going to be a little bit busy today.
I did listen to a social media clip of like 2 minutes from some wannabe business guru that said every business should be taking advantage of Swift Kelce. You should be looking for crossovers. Find a business that you don't usually interact with and do a group thing, like football and music coming together. You should have like a special at the local diner if you get your car washed. You go to the car wash and we'll give you pancakes and a crossover that you don't usually think about.
Deal.
It was very much like, who's not thinking of this? One of those, business gurus that's like, you're not thinking right. You need to maximize your ROI like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And I was like, what are we doing here? Every once in a while you see him on LinkedIn, like the long,
Oh, yeah.
I was taking my dog for a walk, and it got me thinking about business-to-business sales. I'm like, all right.
Sure.
How are we going to connect these dots?
But anyway, there you go. Free donut. Go take advantage of it, people. All right, next one up here. That was just a little bit of a fun one.
Yeah.
We played some of the clips of Rod Brind'Amour, the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, his conversation that he had with Adam Gold on the Canes Corner podcast. Please check it out. It's actually a fantastic conversation.
It's like 45 minutes long. You see Rod in a way that we usually don't see in like a 10 or 12-minute interview during season.
For sure. So he mentioned about the possibility, or it was asked about the possibility of moving Seth Jarvis or Logan Stankoven to play center this upcoming season. And Rod said maybe not Seth Jarvis but possibly trying Logan Stankoven there. Cop or drop, we will see Logan Stankoven become a full-time center this season. Cop or drop.
Ooh.
I use the keyword full-time.
Yeah.
Not like experiment a game or two, but I'm talking, this is a permanent move that we're going to make. Cop or drop.
You know what? It might be a little spicy. I'm copping it.
Okay.
And here's part of the reason why. And I don't, Rod Brind'Amour may not like this, and if he doesn't, I apologize. I do think he let his guard down in that interview a bit.
Okay.
And just with the offhand nature, he explained, it felt like he was on guard for the and I'm just reading body language or whatever. It felt like he was on guard for the Seth Jarvis conversation. But then just the little throwaway of now Logan, we might do it. It just felt like he wouldn't normally give us that line if he were on press conference mid-season form. But because he was talking with someone he likes, made that very clear. He enjoys Adam Gold. And they were kind of in a little bit looser. He just kind of threw in. I was like, ooh, I'm glad you brought it up because I didn't bring it up when we played the audio earlier. I did think that line was file that away. It's one of those things. It's like at the end of Ocean's 11 when they go back and replay all the clues you should have caught about what they were doing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you didn't notice they were doing this, and you didn't notice they were doing that. And it's like when Logan Stankoven gets a real good run at center, we're going to replay that interview and go oh, there's the clue that we missed in the first 10 minutes of the movie that told us who the killer was at the end of the movie. So, yeah, I'm going to cop that with the complete and total acknowledgement. And I think if Rod Brind'Amour heard it, he would like this part. With the complete and total acknowledgement that this is 100% an off-season speculation conversation that is diving way too deep into very small aspects of that conversation. But that's what we do.
All right, final one here for you. Cop or drop. Connor Harrell, UNC, or I guess say former UNC quarterback, now named the starting quarterback at UNC Charlotte. Cop or drop. Connor Harrell and Charlotte will make a bowl game this season. Cop or drop.
Ooh.
Just got to get to 6.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me bring up
there's
their
a lot of
schedule
people
real
out
quick.
there that are thinking they're going to be one of the worst teams in all of FBS football.
Well, first of all, they start their season with a couple of doozies.
Yeah.
They start in Bank of America Stadium against App.
Yeah. That's the Dukes Mayo kickoff.
Friday. I almost said Saturday. Friday at 7 o'clock. Then they welcome Bill Belichick and the UNC Tar Heels. They host them Saturday, September 6th, another 7 o'clock game. Then they get to and they also close their season, goodness, with Georgia, and then at Tulane, which is another team that has been showing signs of upward mobility. And in the mix, in the middle, there's an East Carolina road game. There's an Army road game. There's Rice at home. So 6 feels tough. Okay, so I'll drop it. But I do want to talk Connor Harrell getting the start there a little bit. And I said the same thing about Robbie Ashford at Wake Forest getting the starting nod. I think it was yesterday that announcement came out, or at least we talked about it on the show yesterday. If you have a team that is expected to be a bit overmatched in talent, right? If you look at your roster and you're by the way, not talent in you don't have good football players, talent in size, speed, power, right? If you're looking at the roster going, I don't think our trenches are going to be overpowering anybody. I don't think our wide receivers are going to be running by anybody. Or maybe 1 or 2 guys can keep up, but not 4 or 5 guys at a position group. I think one of the best things you can do to try to basically give yourself a slingshot for David against some Goliaths is have a quarterback that can get it done with his feet. Right? Robbie Ashford is a big dude for Wake. And I said this yesterday, ran a laser-timed in high school 4.59 40 at the opening for Nike, which is a crazy laser time 40 time for a player that big in high school. Connor Harrell, who we covered extensively leading into the season last year for UNC because it was a perceived quarterback competition between he and Max Johnson. He's the one that, Mac Brown would say he runs a 4.4. 4.4 cannot be taught, right? That is one of those things that you either have or you don't. Now, you can get a little faster, right, if you get with a track coach and learn form and all that, but 4.4, field fast 4.4 is one of those, right, speed kills. So I like the idea of Charlotte maybe recognizing there's going to be some plays where we're just going to need somebody to kind of leg it out here, and Connor Harrell has a little bit of that ability. If a play breaks down, if my right tackle is getting overpowered, I would very much rather have a mobile quarterback who runs a 4.4 than a pocket passer. So I'm looking at Charlotte under that kind of light. And I would also say this, regardless of what happens in the first 2 games, let them play Monmouth and Rice before you make your decisions on them. Because, and I'm not even saying App's some big bad bully of all bullies, but they're a program that's been better as of late. And North Carolina, obviously, is Bill Belichick's North Carolina. And there's some history there. Obviously, Connor Harrell was at UNC. I don't know if there's as much animosity because it's kind of with the old crew, and UNC has 75-ish new players on the team. So I'm not even sure Connor Harrell has a bunch of, like, old friends on the roster.
Yeah, that's true. He probably knows, like, 4 guys over there. One thing as well to keep in mind with that Charlotte-UNC game is that it's a short week for Carolina because it's Monday to Saturday, whereas, like you said, Charlotte plays this coming Friday at Bank of America. So a couple extra days in between, a little extra rest, or it's a short week for Bill Belichick and that crew. I'm fascinated to see how the early part of the season looks for UNC. Obviously, the TCU game this coming Monday, but then the short game against Charlotte. Then you got Richmond right after that, which Richmond should be a win. But it's pretty fascinating to see how they're going to start the beginning of this year.
Very much so. And running quarterback, if I were Charlotte, I'm giving my offense like full college offense. Every play is an RPO, speed option. I got a quarterback that runs a 4.4 and a coach that's been in the NFL trying to stop, pocket passers mostly for 30 years. I'm giving this is for the UNC game. I'm giving them on a short week, just like me when in NCAA football, the video game 2007, when I used to take the fastest defensive back on the team and put him at quarterback and just run every kind of ridiculous option and triple option out there, because we don't know if Belichick knows how to stop that. He's never been asked to, right? Does he have the assignment football knowledge to stop a wing T? Like that's what I'm giving him, because that'd be the one thing he doesn't know about the college game. At least elements of those sorts of offenses is what I would throw at UNC. But that's just me. If I had a quarterback that ran a 4.4 and maybe looked at my roster as a little overmatched, I'm going full college. Like full college. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Ooh, I'm looking forward to this one. We have a feedback frenzy. And I can tell you, everybody's got some feedback on Hunter Renfrow being cut by the Panthers. Might hear from that coming up next.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the preseason, so me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, are back in the trenches with our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp rolls forward. Insight on the rookies, the fresh free agents and surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
New to the area? Let me be the first to welcome you. I'm Marcy Bailey of Bailey's Fine Jewelry. We've been family-owned and part of North Carolina since 1948. We have a tradition of being voted the best jewelry store with an unparalleled selection of designer jewelry, fine diamonds, engagement rings, watches, and gifts to commemorate all your special occasions. We look forward to sharing our award-winning service and stunning jewels with you. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to see why every woman wants a Bailey box.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Folks, if you have struggled with your weight, like I have over the last few years, you definitely need to listen to this. I can proudly say that I have lost over 25 pounds in the last 4 weeks thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. That's real talk. Over 25 pounds in 4 weeks thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. It's not just the weight that's come off. My body fat percentage has dropped. I'm sleeping better at night. My resting heart rate is the best it's been since I was back in college. That's how good things have gotten thanks to the weight I've lost, thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. And you can also be part of that as well. No shots, no injections, no side effects, just your body resetting its metabolism and doing the natural thing. And Raleigh Weight Loss Center right now is having a huge end of summer offering, up to 20% off now through August 29th with the lowest prices of the year on the amazing Raleigh weight loss program. Schedule your free consultation by calling 919-897-7506. That's 919-897-7506 or online at RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
The deals are heating up at Wilkinson Chevrolet GMC in Sanford. Get ready to rule the road in a new 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 with TurboMax engine for up to $5,250 off and 0% financing available for qualified buyers. Together, let's drive. Includes bonus customer select market and Chevy loyalty cash. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Trucks this tough don't sit for long, so hurry to Wilkinson Chevrolet GMC in Sanford or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thursday, college football starts for us. Week 1-ish, right? I know week 0 happened. NC Central got the win. We talked about that on Monday. But there will be State ECU, Duke Elon, Wake Forest plays on Friday, as well as the App Charlotte game we were talking about. And then wildly enough, most of the schools we cover taking the first weekend off. And then Monday we'll play the UNC TCU game on Labor Day. So there's a lot to get to. There's a lot to talk about. But we always make time for a little bit of a feedback frenzy. This is where we go onto the interwebs, the depths of the internet, find the feedback from all of you to conversations we've had, discussions we've had, and we bring it on air and react live. So, Dennis, take it away.
All right, a lot of conversation regarding the release of Hunter Renfrow by the Carolina Panthers today, including this one comes from Waning Rose.
First of all, Waning Rose, this better be a dramatic comment. If your name is Waning Rose.
Yeah. Waning Rose. I actually had a lot of comments in our YouTube live chat today, including Dave Canales plays favorites, according to Hunter Renfrow being released. I saw Hunter Renfrow. He's 2 times better than David Moore. Also continued to say a little bit later on that, I actually almost missed it here because people are still in the comment section leaving comments. And also, we have had no choice but to keep Adam Thielen for his last year of his contract as well. And we honestly will get nothing in return when Adam Thielen retires.
Well, there's 2 kind of comments there. First, I don't know if he plays favorites or not, okay? I'm not there. I don't know. I know that he trusts David Moore, but I'll also give you this. When you're talking about like 6th, 7th wide receiver on a team, it's very rarely about solely how good of a receiver they are. You need to contribute on special teams. You need to, right? So whether it's a favorite thing where he's like, I like David Moore more than Hunter Renfrow because we're buddies, or it's even though Hunter Renfrow may be a better wide receiver than David Moore, we can't have that roster spot filled by somebody that can't run down on punts and kickoffs and all of these other things. So I'm not here to say politics doesn't hit the professional level the same way it hits like Little League. Coach's son always gets to start. I'm not saying that, different, but I'm not saying there's not elements of that. But what I am saying is very early on in most people's NFL career, if you're not a Pro Bowler, which, by the way, Renfrow was for a time, the more you can do, right? You better be willing to run out there on every special team or else your roster spot is going to be less secure. And then secondly, the argument for not trading Adam Thielen is not, next offseason we'll get more for him. The argument is trading him now will bring back X amount of value, whatever picks you get, a 6th and a 7th, a 5th, whatever. Holding on to him, right, if you want to keep him, you're saying holding on to him for this year will bring back more than X value in development of Bryce Young, in his impact on the actual games, the receiving yards, the catches he'll make that'll impact winning this year, and in his impact on Teteroa McMillan and Jimmy Horn Jr. and Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette and these other youngsters. It's hard to quantify that value, right? It's hard to say what is more, a 5th-round draft pick or 600 yards, 5 touchdowns, Bryce Young having a sounding board, and Teteroa McMillan having a good example. Like, it's very hard to say which one is worth more. I would lean towards the tangible value of the picks, but that's just me. What else we got, Dennis?
All right, so this is also, again, how people get very extreme regarding this Carolina Panthers roster.
That's fair, though. That's what today is about.
Including from JL CAD. JL says, what? They released Renfro. This is on our YouTube YouTube chat as well. This is why we will never get anywhere.
Because they didn't sign Hunter Renfro?
Yes. Because they didn't sign Hunter Renfro, including to the point where this one comes from Camera Ray. Camera Ray says, I was going to buy tickets to a few games this year because of him. I won't be doing that now. Bummer.
I'm going to be honest. If you buy tickets to watch Hunter Renfro, if he's on the roster, you might not get to watch much Hunter Renfro.
Yeah.
Unless you're just really into watching him, like, talk to Jalen Coker when Jalen Coker comes off the field. Listen, I like Hunter Renfro. Like I said, he's come on my podcast. Forever a guy that I will ride with. And I would have been happy if he made the Panthers. Don't make a 6th or 7th wide receiver decision out to be more than it is. If you're excited about the Panthers wide receivers 2 weeks ago, you were excited about McMillan and Coker and Leggett. If you're excited about the wide receivers today, you're excited about McMillan and Coker and Leggett. And if you're not excited 2 weeks ago, it's not being excited about those guys. Like, be clear on this. Renfro wasn't in the league last year. And there weren't a lot of teams knocking down his door to bring him in this year. The Panthers were trying to find a rust bucket that turned into a car they could drive. And it almost happened. It almost worked. Would have been a great story, but I'm leery of making it out to be anything more than it actually is.
And let's not forget either, it was Hunter Renfro's camp that reached out to the Panthers. But hey, is there an opportunity?
Which, by the way,
the Panthers are like, yeah, sure, let's kick the tires.
I don't think if he gets an offer to be a practice squad guy or a end of the bench guy for Seattle, I'm just inferring it. I don't think he takes it. I think he wants to be close to home. He might be available 2 weeks from now if injuries hit, or if you do trade Adam Thielen, or if a week from now you have a realization that Bryce and Tremaine can't be trusted. Like there's I think that, again, I'm not slamming the door on a Renfro return, although I do think it's below 50%.
Well, Ryan Mewborn on our YouTube live chat would not like you saying that because it says Renfro is so much better than both David Moore and Bryson Tremaine and Jimmy Horn Jr. Bryson Tremaine making the team makes no sense. He has done nothing. He was on the Commanders practice squad last year, and that's it. Didn't even go on the field for the Commanders, which he actually did play 2 games last year. But nonetheless, again, people in their feelings, including Ryan saying James Mitchell, the tight end, made the 53-man roster. What has he done? I mean, he did catch only one of the 2 touchdown passes that they made in this preseason. But hey, there's that.
We are doing a lot of arguing.
Yeah.
About players 47 to 53.
Yeah, I know.
On a 53-man roster. And be clear, I think there's a good chance Bryson Tremaine, I do think, makes it. I think that's come out of nowhere. But also, when a team makes an aggressive swing like that, it's usually not for nothing, right? Like, think kind of Corey Thornton was in this way with the Panthers earlier. When a guy that they brought in with no expectations is suddenly being treated like a dude, I don't think that's like, hey, I like him a little bit. That's like, oh, we've got something here. Bryson Tremaine sat with the starters. Jalen Coker did not. Like, I think there was something that they saw that made them say this guy should be one of us. Same thing with Corey Thornton, right? There was a point in camp where it went from like, oh, Corey Thornton might be a nice guy as an undrafted free agent to, oh, he might be depended upon as a corner this year. Like, don't take like I would be more worried about those guys if the Panthers didn't act so convicted in them. Right? If it felt like they were teetering on the edge all the way up till today at 4, I'd be like, I don't like that. But it doesn't feel that way. It felt like a week ago they would have been able to say, all right, we still got to figure out the end of the roster, but Tremaine and Thornton, they made it. That makes me more confident, right? Because we're not at practice and we don't have a reason why, we should like or not like those guys because there's just not enough information about them.
All right. This actually comes from the latest episode of Pack Therapy that you and former NC State quarterback Mike Glennon actually dropped earlier today. So make sure you go subscribe and check that out. So I guess you guys brought up the cost of tickets or cost of entry into this Thursday's game at Carter Finley Stadium between NC State and East Carolina, which I believe tickets you said were around like $165.
$165 today. They got up to $174 yesterday, and that's the walk-in price. That's as low as. So there's obviously higher tickets than that.
So this one comes from Michael Holbrook saying, it's stunning to see how much demand there is for general admission tickets to the NC State versus ECU game. $170 if you are lucky enough to find general admission tickets, $270 for the few good seats that are remaining.
Yeah, I think this is, if you're an ECU fan, this is one you like. You're going on a road trip. It's not that far. You get to experience Power Conference football.
I mean, there's plenty of ECU fans that live here in Raleigh,
and you get to and you get to talk a little trash, right?
Like
you won last time. You get to roll in with a little bit extra swagger during the tailgating. Also, I look for games like this. We talked about this. What was it? Last week, maybe even a little bit earlier, about how there are some similarities between the two programs and their identity, how their fans want their programs to be seen, how their coaches want their programs to be seen. Blue collar, right? State is always looking for the 3 stars that they can develop into 5 stars, and ECU's very proud of the diamonds in the rough they find in recruiting. So I do think there are quite a few, even like we brought it up. On the podcast that I host with Mike, Mike said he thinks State and ECU have the 2 best fan bases in the state. Right now, that's good rivalrying right there for a former NC State quarterback. But also, I think there's a lot of fans of State and ECU that are friends that enjoy getting after it with each other, that enjoy the trash talk, that enjoy the back and forth. And I think it would be a great time to, bug out early from work on a Thursday, grab your buddy that wears the other color, go have a tailgate, play some cornhole, head into what's supposed to be a lovely day of weather and football in Carter Finley. So, yeah, I do think that it makes sense that the price is high. It's a little higher than I would have guessed, but it still makes sense.
I'm excited for Thursday. It should be a fun atmosphere, like you said, at Carter Finley Stadium. It's going to be a good time. And like you said, it's the proximity of the schools. There's a ton of ECU fans that live here. You'll see NC State fans that migrate or live out in the Greenville area as well. So, again, there's plenty of blend that comes over between those two fan bases in terms of geography. But also as well, you're going into a holiday weekend. So, hey, you know what? Let's go, enjoy the tailgate, enjoy football. Let's just take Friday off. You're going to have Labor Day off, so have a 4-day weekend to back it all up. I think it's set up for a wonderful, wonderful week.
And with all that talk, I loved the quote from Manny Diaz, because Duke also plays that night against Elon. And he was asked, how do you feel about your game going under the radar with so much more attention on State ECU and even UNC on Monday? And his response was, we aren't in the radar business. I don't even know what that means, but it's so coach speak. I love it.
I'm like, sure.
We weren't accusing you of selling radars, but but you're not in the radar business, and I love it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for Loan Pronto. Folks, are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, maybe watching your hard-earned money vanish every single month? Well, stop doing that. Right now at Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can even skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last long. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto, it's outstanding. Just imagine this, folks. lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. Don't let high rates hold you back any longer. Call 919-381-1760 or go to loanpronto.com right now. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back with the starting 5 next.
The Adam Gold Show.
We're going to find out if strength of schedule really matters in college football based on what Penn State and some of the other national contenders in that league are doing or not doing. And then you look at what Miami is doing, what Clemson is doing, as the ACC, really to their own detriment, always seems to play too difficult of a non-conference schedule. Now you got to go win them.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Thanks. Got my seat cushion, crossword puzzle, and can't forget the hand sanitizer. Okay, show me the waiting room.
No need for all that. You can stay in your car.
I stay in my car? Get out.
Yep, you stay in. It'll just be 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Get out.
Go ahead, sit back and relax.
Well, I guess I'll save all this for the DMV. If only they took 10 minutes, am I right? I'm sorry.
Take 5. The stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
It is I, Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. Yes, I am back in Raleigh. Do I go downtown with so many places to party? No, I go to the Shocky's place. The good food, the fine drinks, the coldest of beers, and of course, the many, many beautiful people. I always hang at the Shocky's place, the coolest bar in the world, because, well, it was built for me. Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. The Sharky's Place, 8800 the Raleigh Road by the Shelley Station.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. That cold front that came by yesterday brought cooler air in today. Definitely feeling it. Cooler tonight, 58 the low. A cooler day tomorrow. Partly to mostly sunny skies. It's breezy. The high temperature, 79.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 135 points today to 45,418. Market update brought to you by Allen Tate. Ready to sell your home? Trust the #1 real estate company in the Carolinas, Howard Hanna Allen Tate. Let us show you a real estate experience that is different from all the others. Again, Howard Hanna Allen Tate.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is NFL Cutdown Tuesday. And the starting 5 today is brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com. That's RICCI law.com. Now, as part of the starting 5, as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Some news around the NFL. We'll get to the Panthers and their cut-down day breakdown later on in the starting five. But from around the NFL, some former Panthers you may have heard of. Terrace Marshall Jr. cut. Deontay Johnson from the Browns. Terrace Marshall Jr. Eagles cut. Deontay Johnson with the Browns cut. Jonathan Mingo with the Cowboys not cut, but he's put on IR, so he will not be eligible to play the first 4 weeks of the season. Laviska Shenault, Bills cut. There's not a great look for former wide receivers from the Panthers around the NFL at the moment. UNC fans, Omarion Hampton will have some help in the backfield of the Chargers. Najee Harris has been activated for the Chargers from the non-football injury list. He was dealing with what was called by his agent a superficial eye injury that he suffered during a fireworks incident on July 4th. So he had not, I believe, even been practicing, although he'd been kind of jogging and walking with a weighted vest. Omarion Hampton, though, I don't think this is a problem for him. I think it might actually be a good thing, right? Take a little wear and tear off. Maybe he ends with 20 carries rather than 38 a game because we know the Chargers do want to run. For those of you that were tracking the quarterback battle in the Panthers division down there in New Orleans, Spencer Rattler will start the opener for the Saints as their quarterback battle between Rattler and Tyler Shuck, their second-round pick, comes to a close. Part of me thinks this is just the convenient thing, right? It's easy to go from Rattler to Shuck. It's hard to go in the opposite direction. So you start Rattler, 4, 5, 6 weeks later. If you need to, you can jump to your rookie. Now that rookie has a little less pressure on him, and he can kind of develop under the radar a bit. So it makes sense there. I don't think either of them was really going to be able to drag this team where it needs to go. And maybe for, the Alvin Kamaras and the Chris Olaves of your fantasy team, Rattler has shown the willingness to sling it around a bit. So maybe it turns into something there. What's next? Oh, if you're tracking the quarterback Browns fiasco, Joe Flacco's already been named the starter. They traded Kenny Pickett. Dylan Gabriel, quarterback number 2. So the battle for number 2, it is Dylan Gabriel, which, yes, does mean Shedeur Sanders is the third-string quarterback for the Browns, which, guess what, everybody? Makes sense. Third-round pick will be higher than the 5th-round pick on the depth chart. Who would have guessed? Crazy things will happen. And they're both way below a Delaware Blue Hen named Joe Flacco. Former NC State wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling expected to be released by the Seahawks. I don't want to say he's a one-trick pony, but he definitely has a role on an offense when healthy, as a deep threat, just as a field stretcher, make the safeties respect you, deep thrower. Dennis, would you be surprised if Valdez-Scantling doesn't end up on your Pittsburgh Steelers because he and Aaron Rodgers go back to their time in Green Bay?
Especially they're releasing Robert Woods, the wide receiver, today as well. So it would not surprise me if he was brought in some way, shape, or form.
That's because
at some point, maybe not the first week or two of the season, but don't be shocked.
Robert Woods is a veteran, but he's not one of Aaron Rodgers' veterans.
That's true.
You need to have specific individuals. And then lastly, Teddy Bridgewater named the second-string quarterback, QB2 for the Bucs.
Okay.
Looks like he's not going to have to go back to the high school team where he was coaching last year and won a state title and then was suspended for helping the kids too much.
Former Carolina Panther QBs, Baker Mayfield and Teddy Bridgewater.
And Sam Darnold.
I meant just specifically in Tampa, but yes.
Oh, true. Actually, you're right, both of them.
Yeah.
I was talking about ones that are kind of positively in the news. And then for some reason, Cam Newton is really arguing with everybody on social media. That's just a side note.
Why not?
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is number 5 in the starting 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Now Cooper across midcourt. On the drive, takes it inside and throws it down with 2 hands.
Duke basketball continues to the way I've been describing it, weaponize their basketball schedule. Duke versus Texas Tech has been announced as a Madison Square Garden host game December 20th. Weaponize your schedule is what I'm going to be yelling at football coaches, basketball coaches. I mean, really every sport. If you have a non-conference game and you want to play against a big major conference opponent, I believe you have 3 options. 1, play it in a place that recruits will care about and your players will think is awesome. Madison Square Garden fits. Play it as a true road game, which I think gets you battle-tested for the tournament and conference schedule. And also, if possible, play it in a cool arena. Like, go play at Rupp Arena, go play at Allen Fieldhouse, go play out at, just a place with history, UCLA, right? Go do something that makes your players think it's more than just, we got on a plane, we played a basketball, we came back. Madison Square Garden would fit. Any NBA arena would fit. Or the opposite, or the number 3 would be play it at home, right? If you can get a Kansas to come to your arena, I think doing that is fun, right? Because it's another awesome experience for your fans, and you can host recruits and do everything else. Too often, I'm seeing teams toss away games, right? Oh, we want to buy a win, so we got Gardner Webb to come to town. No disrespect to Gardner Webb. I don't know if anyone's going to remember that game 2 months after you play it, as long as you take care of business and win by 40. However, Duke, we want to have a win. Let's go play at Army, right? How cool is that? Army, go to a service academy. You can take all that in and have those experiences. John Shire and the Duke team, weaponize your schedule. Have a cooler schedule than everybody else. And then go to recruits and say, when you show up, you're going to play a cooler schedule than everybody else. I remember back in the day, and it's hard to do anymore because guys don't stay on campus forever. But my dad was a Duke fan. He had season tickets in the 80s to Duke. Coach K used to do a thing where if you were a senior and you were from a specific part of the country, he would try to get like a in-season tournament, or he'd try to get a reason to play close to your home. So right when Trajan Langdon is a senior, I believe they played in the Alaskan Shootout because Trajan Langdon was from Alaska, and or maybe not senior, upperclassman, whatever it was. I don't remember all the details. This is secondhand being told to me by my dad. But that's cool, right? That's another version of weaponizing your schedule. Can you imagine if – oh, sorry, I just mashed the microphone. Can you imagine if like John Shire last year was able to somehow play a game in Maine with Cooper Flagg, right? Like – I don't know if you or
yeah, Boston College was close enough, right?
I mean, you didn't get to choose that one, but yeah, like if they could play an extra South Florida game somewhere near where the Boozers are from, like I don't know. It's hidden value, right? Hidden value, hidden buzz, hidden reasons to talk about you. Or actually, would be the crazier thing to do. Find out where the top-rated like freshman is right now, freshman in high school, top-rated freshman recruit in high school, and schedule a game 3 years from now in his backyard. So when he's a junior rising senior, you'll be playing a game, right there. Is that too diabolical? Is that too much? Maybe. But my point is, don't waste games. Another great example we talked about earlier today, ECU football. All right, we're going to take a bye game. We need a game that's going to give us cash to help fund some of the things we want to do, and NIL and support staff and everything else. Don't just take a bye game from any old team. They're going to play at Alabama in 2026. You don't think recruits, hey, you want to go know what it feels like to play on national television, because it'll at least be an SEC network game, to play in front of, 80, 100,000 people. I don't know how big Alabama Stadium is. And have a chance to shock the world. Recruits like those games. I promise you. When I was in college, Towson, the year after I left, actually, Towson played at LSU. We were so jealous. So jealous. You know what they did? They went up to LSU and got smoked. But we were so excited, so jealous that they even got the chance. We never really got that big swing at Delaware. Until after I left. Then they played a whole bunch of ACC teams. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Oh, it's intercepted at the 50-yard line. Down the right side of the 40, 30, 20. It's Rebel at the 10. At the 5, he walks into the end zone. Come on, Rebel comes right back and gets the pick 6 for ECU.
ECU, NC State, this Thursday. Carter Finley Stadium. Be there or be square.
We'll be there.
We'll be there because we're not going to be square. We'll be there outside on the plaza leading up to the game, doing the show live. Should be really fun. Brandon Cleveland will be there, but he won't be doing anything more than we'll be doing in the first half. He'll be watching. Dave Doran announced earlier today, the head coach of NC State, announced earlier today that one of their more accomplished and quite frankly best defensive players, Brandon Cleveland, along with reserve offensive lineman Val Erickson, will not be playing in the first half due to their ejections last December in the Military Bowl against ECU. So ironically, ECU's this is the first time you're punished the next game after an ejection. It's the first time it actually makes sense, right? Because normally, you get ejected in the second half against Boston College, so you don't get to play the first half against Syracuse. Syracuse gets a random benefit, right? Like, oh, sweet, one of their better players doesn't get to play against us. ECU drew the ejections in the bowl game, and now they get the benefit of the ejections in the first game of this year. Doesn't usually happen that way. But from an X's and O's standpoint, this is big for NC State. When we talked with Dave Doran at ACC Kickoff, and I've referenced this a bunch of times, I asked him, I said, what position battle are you most worried about? Or not worried about, I said most excited about, right? Because I think coaches, they get that sharpening iron in their head that gets their juices flowing. So I said, what position battle are you most excited about? And his response was essentially the defense. And then he elaborated and said, outside of 2 or 3 spots, really the defense has a lot of position battles where guys can earn playing time this preseason. Now, he didn't give us the 2 or 3 that were settled, but my guess is the 3 that were settled is Caden Fordham, right? Captain on a bunch of preseason watch list, linebacker. Sean Brown, captain, linebacker, freak athlete. And Brandon Cleveland, who is returning from playing a whole bunch of snaps last year. According to Corey Smith of Pack Pride, Cleveland played the most snaps of any lineman last season and is expected to be one of the Pack's top defender, again, according to Corey Smith. So Cleveland being out is big, right? We only had 2 or 3 spots that were locked up coming into this year, and there you go, right? One of them won't be there for the first half. And I'm, you know what? Actually, I'll save this. Here's a tease, everybody. We are going to talk about that NC State versus ECU game and first game action to close the show today. So at about 5:45, be right here. There's another point I want to make about that game, and Brandon Cleveland not playing in the first half definitely impacts it. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the 2 of us. Florida looking to get it out. Forsling bounce it. Now it comes out in front. Holding shoot. He scores! Seth Jarvis with the turnover. And Carolina has tied it at 3.
All right, everybody. Rod Brind'Amour spoke with our very own Adam Gold on the Canes Corner podcast. It's like a 47-minute conversation. Not now, but as soon as this show is over, go ahead and check it out on our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. It is a very fun watch. Throughout the show, we've been playing clips, and we've been talking about some of the hockey stuff that he mentioned, right? He doesn't think Seth Jarvis will get one of the first looks at center. He did throw out maybe Logan Stankoven could get an early look as a center. There's some talk about the structure that allows him to be successful from the front office, and there's some talk about analytics versus hockey guy thinking, and we played that audio. But I don't want anyone to ever lose track of who Rod Brind'Amour is, right? He is the coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, and he has to make those decisions, and he has to be, for lack of a better term, coachly. But, to use a modern-day slang term, he's still got that dog in him, right? You don't become who he was as a player without being a dog. And I thought it came out when he was asked. Adam Gold asked him, does making the Hall of Fame matter to you? And this was Rod Brind'Amour's answer.
Would I love to? Yes. Of course I would. That's, for different reasons that people probably think. More because it would be an unbelievable opportunity to thank people that I need to thank in that form that have meant so much to me that you can't really, and it would be great for this organization just to have that. I feel like, we're still fighting that credibility thing. It's constant. Every time you feel it. I understand it. They're looking for ways to constantly, not devalue this place, but there's some sort of something out there. We got to win one more here to knock that out. That's kind of what.
Then you go in as a coach.
Oh, I don't care about that. I'm just talking about the team in general.
Right.
So would it be great? Yes, if it happens. I always say this. I never grew up. It never once did it enter my mind, I make the Hall of Fame. No, it was make the NHL and then win a Stanley Cup. That was like all I ever thought about. So this would just be icing if it ever does happen.
Well, first of all, if all you thought about was make the NHL win a Stanley Cup.
Done.
Big old check.
Yep.
Congrats, you've done it. And you did it a while ago. Here's the way I read that. I really think Rod Brind'Amour is the type that doesn't care about the honors and the wishy, like, oh, I am a Hall of Famer, right? He knows how good he was, and he knows what his peers think of him, and he knows those sorts of things. But I also get the vibe that the competitive drive that drove him to get where he went, I don't think it's diminished at all, right? So he's like, doing it in the Hall of Fame, and it is what it's like. Do I care what these voters think of me? No. But as soon as other guys start making it that I'm better than, then the competitive fire is lit back up, right? I didn't care until he got in, and I don't know why he gets in if I don't get to get in. And he didn't obviously take it that far. But I do think, it's appropriate to remind everybody every once in a while what you're dealing with. Like, that's Rod Brind'Amour, right? That's the guy that was, for the 20-something years, right, was one of the baddest dudes in hockey. And just because he, wears a tie to work now doesn't mean he's not still in there somewhere. I don't think, and I actually think it's wild, but I truly don't believe that he is like sees his career somehow unfulfilled because he's not getting into the Hall of Fame. I do think from a competitive standpoint, when guys who are not as deserving make it, that fire gets lit. And because of that, I'll continue to advocate for him to make the Hall of Fame. I don't know if I have any sway, but if I do, it'll be fully behind Rod Brind'Amour making the Hall of Fame. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
First and goal from the 4. Watson rolls right, throws on the run, caught. Touchdown, Clemson. Hunter Renfrow.
We'll wrap up today's starting 5 with number 1. Starting 5, obviously, brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm. Injury lawyers, Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com, RICCI law.com. Today is NFL Cutdown Day. We talked about it in number 5 of the starting 5, which obviously means it is Cutdown Day for the Carolina Panthers. I'll run through quickly here some names that you may have expected to make the team that did not. Wide receiver Hunter Renfrow did not make the 53-man roster. Defensive tackle Shai Tuttle, who has started 32 games in the last 2 seasons for the Panthers on the interior of the defensive line, did not make the 53-man roster. Chris Barnes, who was a veteran linebacker that was brought in during training camp, seemingly as kind of a response to perhaps Josie Jewell not being available and being released pre-camp. He did not end up making the 53-man roster, and John Radigan did not make the 53-man roster. Those are the vested veteran, maybe more surprising picks. Dennis, what's the most surprising cut for you? We'll play this game.
I think the most surprising one, is probably Hunter Renfrow, because I had him on my initial 53-man roster. Chris Lee and I on Panthers Playbook actually did a projection last week of the 53, and I had Renfrow on there. I did have 7 wide receivers making it on my initial 53. So I would say Renfrow was probably the one, but
So let's watch the tape. What do you think you got wrong? What'd you miss? Why did you have Hunter Renfrow on that obviously the Panthers didn't value as much as you did?
So I was looking at him, obviously, about how well he played on the initially at the beginning of training camp. I think I undervalued how much how highly they thought of Bryson Tremaine, the wide receiver.
Yep.
I heard him talk about it, him being Dave Canales, talk about Bryson Tremaine a lot, and I was like, and then when that last preseason game against the Steelers rolled through, and he's like, "Oh, he had some general soreness, and we decided to shut him down." I was like, "Okay, this guy's making the team."
That's when I had my when he wasn't playing in preseason game 3, I was like, "This is different."
So, but reason why I kept 7 wide receivers initially was the fact that I think they're going to probably trade Adam Thielen. So you want to have that extra security in case you can't bring in another wide receiver that you like. So that was kind of the thing that stuck out to me in that regard, was just Renfrow not making it, but he never looked the same after the hamstring injury. Just didn't look the same after the hamstring injury. And it's just like, well, you know what? If you can't stand up through the rigors of training camp after having missed last year of football, then you're probably not going to last during the season as a whole.
As far as surprising makes of the roster, players that are on the original 53-man, which, by the way, does not mean anything beyond the fact that at 4 o'clock they were on the 53-man roster. They could be cut tomorrow. But James Mitchell, a tight end, played well in the preseason, and also I think they probably craved a little bit of extra depth there with Tommy Tremble's back injury still being slight unknown. Wide receivers, you brought up one of them, Bryson Tremaine and David Moore both made it. I'm not surprised one of them made it. I'm surprised both of them made it.
Yeah.
Because they seem like wide receivers that are like, oh, they're good depth pieces of wide receiver, but their value on game day is going to be special teams. And you rarely see, and I don't think either of them will be returning kicks. I think you rarely see 2 guys in the same position making it on similar special teams roles. So I was surprised they both made it. Jaden Crumedy made the team, which I thought was a surprise on the interior of the defensive line, a young interior defensive lineman. When Shai Tuttle gets cut and Crumedy makes it, that was surprising to me. An outside linebacker, DJ Johnson, made the team, although I will also give you this. 6 outside linebackers made it. I believe by game 1 that'll be 5. So I don't know how long DJ Johnson is for. 4 off-ball linebackers made it, including Bam Martin-Scott. I don't think that is how this one will end. I think they will probably make a claim somewhere else. And a Caleb Evans at cornerback made it over Shamar Bartholomew, which is another interesting one there. So we've gotten your most surprising cuts. Who's your most surprising keep?
DJ Johnson.
Yep.
DJ Johnson is the most surprising one for me. But again, based off waiver claims, if they're able to claim 1 or 2 or even 3 guys, I would not be surprised if DJ Johnson is one of the first guys that's let go.
I will say this, and Panthers.com put out a breakdown and kind of their analysis. It's an interesting explanation for Johnson. This is how they broke down the 6 outside linebackers. Pat Jones, who was the free agent acquisition this offseason. DJ Wanham, who was a free agency acquisition last offseason, very proven guy. Nick Scorton, Princely Umanmielen, their 2nd and 3rd round pick this year. Then Thomas Incoom and DJ Johnson. This is how they describe that bunch. A couple of veteran starters, a couple of draft picks with promise, along with a special teamer in Incoom and Johnson, who had his best camp. I thought that was an interesting who had his best camp. Maybe they think the old guy who they drafted old is finally hitting his stride in like his 3rd or 4th camp by now? Maybe he finally unlocked it. He had his best camp. We'll see. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, that's the starting 5 brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Laws is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com, RICCI law.com. We are going to need to grab some numbers game contestants, but first, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Bailey's Fine Jewelry and the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop are not trying to sell you anything that you aren't an expert on. Now, here's how that happens. Here's how you become an expert. They're experts and they want to teach you. So you may look at like an Omega Speedmaster, aka the Moon Watch, right? The watch that NASA has commissioned and authorized to be worn on the moon, and say there's a lot of dials on there. Well, okay, it's a chronograph. What does that mean? How can I use the different complications? You may see something like a day date. You may see something like a moon phase. Like all of these are different complications that are going to be on the dial of your watch. I have a chronograph on right now. And if you talk with the people at Fox and Bailey, they can explain how it all works, what it all does, if you don't know already. And it's really a cool deal there, right? If you're going to have a piece of elite engineering on your wrist, you want to know what it does, you want to know how it works, you want to know how impressive it truly is. Because when you throw on a pre-owned or vintage Rolex, a Blancpain, a Norqain, an Omega, like I mentioned, you want to know everything that it's bringing to the table, right? Don't just wear it because you like the brand. Wear it because you love the watch. You love the timepiece. At least that's how I look at it. You can always direct message them on Instagram at Fox and Bailey Watch Shop with questions with one of their watch experts, and then get back to you with a super detailed answer. It's something that you have at your fingertips if you want to use it. Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location in Raleigh. Let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Now we need some numbers game contestants. The prize for today is a $30 gift card to Alpaca Chicken.
Nice.
Legendary flavor, hometown pride. You want to experience the legendary flavor. You need a $30 gift card. You need to win. You got to earn it. Call in now. We need 2 contestants. The number to call is 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants for the numbers game coming up next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Jackson Dart is ready for prime time. Jackson Dart gives the Giants the best chance to win games. Jackson Dart gives Brian Daboll and Joe Shane the best chance to say their damn job. I am on board with Mike Tannenbaum, everything that he says. So Jackson Dart needs to be the quarterback moving forward. QB1, week 1.
Unsportsmanlike. Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50. Add any size Sprite for $1.49. Price of participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The prize for today, a $30 gift card to Alpaca Chicken. Battling it out for the $30 gift card to Alpaca Chicken will be Brian in Fayetteville and Marcus in Morrisville. As always, I will ask them both the same question. And our judge, which for today is Dennis, will pick the favorite answer, their favorite answer, his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. Brian in Fayetteville, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we've been talking a lot about these Thursday games coming up in college football, which means we are one day closer to tailgating. What is the priority number one for throwing a banger tailgate? If you could only guarantee, you're going to your friend's tailgate and you can only guarantee one thing is going to be there, one food, one piece of atmosphere, one something, what's priority number one for the tailgate?
simple. Beer.
All right. Tracks. That tracks. Brian, your answer is locked in. We'll see if it gets chosen. Marcus in Morrisville, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Same question to you. If you're going to a tailgate and you want to have a good time, what is priority number one, the most important thing to have a good time?
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings. All right, got to have chicken wings. Dennis, that means you have to choose between beer and chicken wings.
That's not an easy one.
It's
actually.
a win-win. You're not saying you hate the other. You're just saying,
well, I mean, here's the thing: what kind of beer, what kind of wings? I mean, those are all different kinds of options.
I would say we could go back and ask, but I don't want to.
Yeah, no, there's a little too much there. Wings can get a little messy at a tailgate. That's the one thing that can be a little bit tricky if you're putting a lot of sauce or anything like that. I mean, you know me, I love garlic Parmesan wings. So I just got to go beer on this one because. There's a lot of different options. You know, some people might want to drink a little bit more. Some people hey, I just want to sip on one and enjoy. There's a lot more options, I'd say.
All right. So Brian in Fayetteville gets to go first. Marcus in Morrisville, don't worry, you'll have your chance. Just gotta hang on for a little bit. Stay on hold. Brian, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have NFL Travis Kelce's groomsmen options. These are all players that could logically be one of Travis Kelce's groomsmen's. NFL late August birthdays, players born in late August. NBA players that are exactly 6 feet tall, no more, no less, listed at exactly 6 feet tall, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Not feeling too confident about the NFL ones. Let's go NBA.
All right. NBA, exactly 6 feet tall. These are people who are listed at 6 feet. Not more, not less. Not less. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Let's go.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Kyle Lowry, Toronto Raptors.
7.
Correct. Jameer Nelson, Orlando Magic.
14.
Correct. Chris Paul, San Antonio Spurs.
3.
Correct. Mike Conley, Minnesota Timberwolves.
11.
Incorrect. Jose Alvarado, New Orleans Pelicans.
15.
Correct. Mike Conley, Minnesota Timberwolves.
10.
Correct. 5 for 5. And by the way, your miss is a good miss because Mike Conley with Utah and Memphis were 11. So we were asking for the Timberwolves, but you were there, right? It's like a really good golfer. You can tell by their misses how good they are.
18.5 seconds for
18.5. It's not our best ever, but it's up there.
It's close.
Oh, man.
It's not our best ever, but it's up there. Brian, for somebody that seemed to pick a category by default, that was impressive. Go ahead and stay on the line. I do have to give you the disclaimer. We have seen somebody get 5 and then get one-upped by a faster 5 next. Marcus in Morrisville, are you ready to give it the good old-fashioned try?
Let's go.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose are NFL players, Travis Kelce's groomsmen options, NFL late August birthdays, players born in late August, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
Let's go Travis Kelce.
All right. These are players who, for one reason or another, could be seen as options for Travis Kelce's groomsmen now that he's engaged to T. Swifty. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. You do need all 5 for the win and faster than your opponent. But even if you don't get it in time, keep going because there are other benefits to being a perfect score player. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jason Kelce, Philadelphia Eagles.
62.
Correct. George Kittle, San Francisco 49ers.
85.
Correct. Jamal Charles, Kansas City Chiefs.
25.
Correct. Tyrann Mathieu, New Orleans Saints.
32.
Correct. Mike Glennon, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
8.
Correct. Whoa! What just happened?
That was 20.5 seconds.
Just a little hesitation. But, hey, I give you a ton of credit for seeing a perfect score and saying, I'm still right here 10 toes down.
Let me go clarify. Let me go check the tape.
Right,
I want to
check
make
the
sure I
tape.
get this correct. But unofficial times, we had 18.5 and 20.5. But let me go check the tape.
In the meantime, can you undo that just so I can let them know kind of – oh, no, sorry. Never mind. I have it right here. These are the reasons why they were considered Travis Kelce's groomsmen options. Jason Kelce is Travis Kelce's brother. George Kittle, they started tight end TEU together, fellow NFL tight end. Jamal Charles would have been like the offensive veteran leader during Travis Kelce's rookie season in Kansas City. Tyrann Mathieu was drafted in the same round as Travis Kelce back in 2013, and Mike Glennon was drafted 10 spots after Travis Kelce in that same draft. So if you assume the rookies, right, spend time together, similar drafted rookies spend time together in the lead up to the draft, training, combine, maybe at a few events, they could have struck up a friendship. So there you go. Those were two very, very well played rounds. Very well played rounds.
We have official times.
What do we got?
We have Brian in Fayetteville with 18.1 seconds. Marcus in Morrisville, 19.9.
Wow. You know what, Marcus? You're not going to get the prize, but you are pretty darn impressive. So congratulations on a good showing, Marcus.
It's stay on the line, Marcus.
And you are officially part of the reason why I say, even if you don't get it in time, keep it going. There are other benefits to being a perfect score player. So stay on the line, Marcus. And Brian, congratulations. I wonder if you weren't a little scared there.
Yeah, I was a little nervous.
Yeah, you will.
I was going to miss out on my Peruvian chicken.
Well, in the end, you get the Peruvian chicken if that's what you spend it on. A $30 gift card to Alpaca Chicken, legendary flavor, hometown pride. And congratulations being part of history. One of the very few double fives that we've had. Congrats.
Thank you, sir.
All right, stay on the line. Both of you stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. Smoked it. And by the way, I do feel I read I'm always very nervous of this, that I stumble through it. I feel I read both of those lists at a similar pace, didn't stumble very much, and it was just the hesitations that ended up being the difference, and the length of words, right? I can't help that Tampa Bay Buccaneers is a longer word than, say, Utah Jazz or whatever it ended up being. So those are just two very good numbers game players. Maybe the numbers game live that we had last week is just rubbing off on everybody, because there were some impressive performances there, and now we have more impressive performances here, which is a fun one. Gosh, I think that's just our second double 5 for 5, maybe our third, but it gets my energy boosted. I'll tell you that much. And it's a good vibe that we're going into Thursday football. I'm talking tailgates, and then the good omen is we go right into a double 5 for 5. That's perfect. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Want to remind everybody, subscribe to our YouTube. You get cool events like our Numbers Game Live, which we did last week, which was live streamed on our YouTube channel. You get cool non-exclusively radio aired interviews like the Canes Corner interview that we talked about earlier between Adam Gold and Rod Brind'Amour, 47 minutes into the mind and off-season and hockey thoughts of Rod Brind'Amour. You can find that on our YouTube channel. And then on top of that, Panthers Playbook, Pack Therapy, so many additional podcasts and additional content and clips from this show and others. It's all on our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. Search for it, subscribe, jump in the comments. We bring the comments live on air quite a bit, so if you're a passionate enough individual, there's a good chance you'll hear your comments right here on air, which I enjoy doing. I enjoy interacting with y'all. With that being said, The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Actually, before we move on, Dennis Cox is going to have a piece of information for you. His connecting with our contestants is taking a little longer than it usually does because we had 2 perfect scores. And we will wait for greatness. We will hesitate for greatness. If you go double 5 for 5, we will sit here and stretch on air because double 5 for 5s are worth it.
It really is.
But now that you just heard Dennis, he is back and he is ready, and he's got something to tell you.
That's right. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Folks, if you've struggled with your weight, and something that I have struggled with over the last several years, you definitely need to listen to this. I can proudly say that with Raleigh Weight Loss Center, I've been doing this the program at Raleigh Weight Loss Center for a shade over 4 weeks now. Stepped on the scale this morning, 28 pounds down. 28 pounds down in just over 4 weeks, folks. That's real numbers. That's real stats. I even had a follow-up appointment with Raleigh Weight Loss Center last week, and it's not just losing a bunch of water weight or maybe just my muscle mass going away. It's my body fat percentage has dropped several percentage points. My visceral fat has all dropped thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center and their program over there. And that's the thing about Raleigh Weight Loss Center that excites me about continuing to do this program. Obviously losing the weight, but so many other aspects of my life have got better. My resting heart rate is better. I'm sleeping much better at night. I'm not snoring anymore, which is kind of an amazing thing as well. But the one thing is about the weight loss program at Raleigh Weight Loss Center is you're not doing any injections. There's no shots. We're not doing HGH. We're not roiding up here. We're not juicing. You're not doing any of those things. It's just your body resetting and restarting its metabolism naturally. That way you are burning fat and burning weight every single day. It can be very frustrating when you feel like you're doing the right things, and unfortunately things do not happen. But again, this is where Raleigh Weight Loss Center comes in. They're there to help you get your body back to where you want it to be. And Raleigh Weight Loss Center right now is having a huge end of summer sale, offering up to 20% off now through August 29th. So that's the end of the week, folks. So it's the lowest prices of the year on the amazing Raleigh Weight Loss program. So take advantage of that right now. Schedule your free consultation today by calling 919-897-7506. That's 919-897-7506. You can always go to RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. But again, it's a free consultation. Take advantage of that up to 20% off now. 919-897-7506 or RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll look towards Thursday. ECU, NC State. We break down one particular part of it. Coming up next.
Move your sports day forward.
A lesson learned this month, courtesy of some student athletes paying people via Venmo. When you're transferring money to friends, don't use real descriptions. Don't say sports gambling, especially if you're a student athlete playing sports. Try something different, like hide it under pizza or maybe feet pics.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thursday, the college football season gets kicked off in earnest. I know we had games week 0, and it quenched the thirst a little bit, but really Thursday is when the floodgates open. And one of those games is NC State hosting ECU, which actually kind of feels like a continuation of the bowl game from last year. Here's what it is for NC State. Here's the added part of it. It's an opening statement. And I know that it is I know that it feels like a small thing, right? Oh, how you start a game, as long as you get the win, it's a long season, it doesn't impact anything. But I was trying to think of last year's state team, right? And last year's NC State team underwhelmed. Okay, 6-7 final record, lost the bowl game. There were parts of that season where body language became an issue for certain players. Like it was a struggle, right? They were losing after 3 quarters to Western Carolina in their opener.
Yeah, let's not forget that.
They were losing after 3 quarters. Now, they scored whatever it was, like 15 seconds into the fourth quarter, a couple big plays in the fourth, so it didn't look as bad on the final score. But they were behind. I think it was 24-21 or 21-17. It was something like that after the fourth quarter, down to Western Carolina. And at the time, I think we subconsciously tried to put it in the back of our mind. And, all right, it's Western Carolina. They're playing Tennessee next week. It was a trap game. They were looking ahead and all of these things. But looking at the end of the season, was there a better canary in the mine than those first 3 quarters? Was there a better early signal than those first 3 quarters for how the season was going to go? Right? Even the things they did well, even the wins they got, felt a little unsatisfying. So now ECU, which, by the way, is no offense to Western Carolina, ECU should put up they just beat you at the end of the last year, right? There should be a bigger fight put up there. And this is your opening statement. You could argue this is how your season's going to go. Now add in a few other things. It is the debut of a new offensive and defensive coordinator who were on the staff last year, but they weren't the ones calling the shots, right? Promoted from within, but new guys calling the plays, designing everything, putting their identity onto your offense and defense. So that right there is like, I can already tell you if they start slow, that's going to be the subconscious effort. Right? If they start slow, instead of saying, well, they had Tennessee next week and they're looking ahead, we'll be going, well, it was a new offensive and defensive coordinator and they were getting their feet wet. And right in the fourth quarter, they perked up or whatever it is. Which does, and sometimes that kind of talk just doesn't matter. It just gives yourself that escape. It gives yourself another week of hope. Then throw in that we learned today, Brandon Cleveland, one of their best defensive players, is going to be suspended for the first half for the ejection in that Military Bowl last December. So it's almost like you can look at the quote-unquote reasons that you might start slow and treat them as reasons that you might start slow or obstacles that you have to overcome to start fast anyway. Not to mention, the spread was moving pretty aggressively to make NC State a bigger favorite, right? It started off at 12.5, dropped to 12. Last I checked, I think it was 14.5. Let me see what it's at here. 13.5 is what it settled to. That's an interesting number there, right? So not like I say, not like it's interesting for this reason. ECU is going to come into this game wildly confident, as they should. They beat you to end last year if you're NC State. The longer you let them hang around, right? You're supposed to beat them by 2 touchdowns, according to the spread. The longer you let them hang around, the more and more that confidence will build, and the more and more they're going to play as if they're the favorites rather than the underdogs, right? The more and more they're going to be emboldened to think they got your number, they know something about it. I'm obviously talking from NC State's point of view at ECU, and the reverse is true, right? If you're ECU, you get off to a hot start, It starts to feel like there was however many months, December to August, that passed in a blink, right? Like, oh, this is just a continuation of that bowl game. Even though both teams are different in some ways, they're still, the core is the same. So, right, we're going to talk tomorrow and Thursday because you lead up to game one with a lot of hype. We are going to be outside Carter Finley Stadium for the entirety of Thursday's show. But looking ahead, right, with days in advance, I think it's important to recognize that this, any team's first game could be the first sign of trouble or the first sign of greatness, right? It could be the game where we all go, whoa, there's something good here. Or it could be the game like last year where we do everything we can to mental gymnastics our way out of what we all saw, which was a team that didn't rise to the challenge, even though they got the win. I almost want to, like between the third, maybe I'll do this. Between the third and fourth quarter of game one, I'm going to go find the live win total for NC State. And based on how they play through the first 3 quarters of game one, I'm going to take the over or under because it would have been the best indicator last year. Right? If after the first 3 quarters against Western Carolina, you had to choose whether they were going to be an above or below 500 team, you would probably said under. And then it happened. Right, and then 6 and 7 happened. So there's a few things there, right? And any coach will tell you, right? You got to hit the ground running. You have to.
Could you imagine if you're Blake Harrell in East Carolina, you got obviously the big upset win in the bowl game last year, and then you start your first year as a full-time head coach, not the interim, and you pull an upset again over NC State on their home turf? And they might build a statue for Blake Harrell.
True. It's kind of the best of both worlds for him, though, right?
Yeah.
Because he gets to hype up the team's confidence because you just beat them, while also playing the chip on the shoulder act because you're huge underdogs. It's like you get him coming and going, right? Depending on the day, he gets to motivate in a bunch of different ways, right? You should believe in yourself, but nobody believes in you. All right, we're a program that's building. Caton Hauser, since you took over at quarterback, we've done this, we've done that. We finished 5-1. But also, C.J. Bailey might make more money than our entire roster combined, which is something that Blake Harrell said on this program. There's like a real dichotomy there to how you can see yourself versus how the world sees you, and Blake Harrell could use that to motivate. The one thing I will say is ECU lost a lot of production from last year's team.
They did.
They lost quite a bit of not just to graduation, to the transfer portal and everything else. They also brought in some talent. So, there's it's typical transfer portal era college football. You don't know, quite frankly, you don't know if the talent brought in is less than, equal to, or outweighs the talent that you lost until you play the season. It's why, I think I saw, what was it, the Big 12 doesn't even do a preseason media poll anymore because they basically said, they've been so wrong the last 2 years that it's completely pointless. I think they picked Arizona State last year to be second to last in the league, and then, of course, they're giving Texas a double overtime showing in the CFP. It's just too difficult, so... part of me says ECU lost a lot of talent. I promise you, I don't know the talent of all of their incoming transfers. And unless you are somebody that works for 247 or On 3 or something, you don't know either because the transfer portal is too vast to know everything about. But I'll tell you right now, it'll be an electric game. And we'll be outside Carter Finley Stadium for the game on Thursday, and we want you guys to stop by and say hi.
Please do, for real.
Invite us to your tailgates. Who knows?
We'll be right there in the plaza between Lenovo and Carter Finley.
Bring us a plate of food. Who knows?
Do it.
Now I'm just pandering for free stuff.
Hey, why not?
If you got the grill cranking, send somebody over there.
Let's
bring a plate. I'll grade it for you. 0 out of 10, 1 out of 10. What are we thinking here? 10 out of 10? That's up to you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. People get very competitive about their tailgate foods. They will give you
sure.
They will give you a plate and say eat it, and you have to eat it. They'll watch you. What do you think? No, get the sauce on there. Get this. Now, what do you think? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, coming to a close. We'll be back tomorrow for a Wednesday edition of the show, 3 o'clock. In the meantime, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. A lot of cool stuff up there, including that Rod Brind'Amour conversation. Until tomorrow, have a great night, everybody.
The Adam Gold Show.
We're going to find out if strength of schedule really matters in college football based on what Penn State and some of the other national contenders in that league are doing or not doing. And then you look at what Miami is doing, what Clemson is doing as the